Welcome, everybody, to the Sound Alive Sports Network. Big football game tonight from Edmond Stadium where the Meadowdale Mavericks and the Mountlake Terrace Hawks are about to do battle. Second game of the year for both teams. However, last week, both played away from the stadium, so we're broadcasting for the first time in 2014 for both the Mavericks and the Hawks. Hawks coming off of a 1-point victory over Mariner last week, a 14-13 victory in which they had to come from behind after giving up all 13 points in the first quarter of play. Meadowdale, on the other hand, went up to Lake Stevens. They went up against Jacob Eason, one of the top quarterbacks in the nation, and hung in pretty strong, only losing 28-21 in a non-conference game against a team that might end up contending for the 4A state championship this year. So there's nothing wrong with that loss at all. So again, Meadowdale, Mountlake Terrace, both teams coming into conference play with a 0-0 conference record, and they're about to do battle here in just a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll get you the starting lineups and get you right to action here at Edmond Stadium. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
On, right? And we are back again at Edmond Stadium. The Mountlake Terrace Hawks versus the Meadowdale Mavericks. Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Willits, and along with Dave Koschik, we will be bringing you play-by-play For the next 48 minutes of action here, hopefully a good football game between two Edmonds School District rivals, two Wesco 3A South rivals.
Year number 3 for us in the booth, Steve, and it's always exciting getting back in for the first game, at least the first game we're broadcasting. Like you were saying, last week both Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace played games against 4A opponents. So while you always want to win, Meadowdale came up short and Mountlake Terrace won by 1. Tonight's game actually goes towards postseason.
It goes into the records.
Into the records
counts in the standings, correct?
Yeah, for postseason play if both teams are lucky to make it. So this is a big game for both schools right now. This is the first 3A conference players they see.
Yeah, and a good test for both teams last week. Mountlake Terrace getting a little bit of momentum. They fell behind 13-0 in the first quarter before coming back to beat Mariner 14-13. And as I mentioned during the intro a few minutes ago, Meadowdale going up against a Lake Stevens team. The quarterback at Lake Stevens is Jacob Eason. He's already committed to playing at Georgia next year. He's only a junior in high school, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. So they got tested last week. They came up just a bit short. And here we go. We are underway in the 3A West Coast South action. And here comes Daniel Johnson, I believe, and he finds a little bit of a seam and is finally tripped off at about the 29-yard line. Johnson bringing the ball back about 24 yards. And the Hawks come onto offense for the first time. Let's get you caught up on the starting lineup. Justin Hopkins, the senior, number 7 at quarterback. Got Ryan Lacoste and Malcolm Johnson, the running back tandem that had close to 200 yards last week and looked good in the process. That is your backfield. Gabe Brady at the receiver spot. Jacob Walgren, he's lining up in one of the slot positions, and we'll get you your offensive line in just a moment. Hopkins under center. Takes the snap, and he's looking to pass right off the bat. Penalty flag is down. Gabe Brady catches the ball on the left-hand side and fights forward to the 41-yard line, a gain of 12. But as we mentioned, penalty flags flying here on the first play from scrimmage of this ballgame.
If they don't blow it dead, it's usually either a legal shift or a defensive offsides or encroachment.
The Hawks completing only 1 of 3 passes last week. Was not sure if I was expecting a passing play right off the bat, and for that matter, Meadowdale may not have either, as Brady finding a nice seam and gets through. And unfortunately for the Hawks, the referees are walking back towards their goal line, indicating the road team is going to get the penalty here.
Indication on the penalty,
illegal procedure against Mountlake Terrace. So the Hawks getting off to a nice start, only to have the whole entire play wiped away and then pushed back 5 yards on top of that. They're now looking at 1st and 15 from their own 24-yard line. Get you caught up here on the offensive line as well for the Hawks. Gabe Fritz playing left tackle. Miles Allen at number 71 at left guard. Drew Clippard, the center, the junior. Billy Parkins, right guard. And Eli Wilson, right tackle, with Austin Bates, player better known as Fife, playing tight end. Hopkins getting pressured right away, and rather than take a sack, he fights his way forward. Gained about 2 yards, and that will bring up a 2nd and 13.
Well, yeah, going against conventional wisdom, first 2 plays out of the box, Terrace is looking to pass. First one getting taken back with a penalty. Second one, nothing open for Hopkins down there, so he kept it. Made a minimal game, at least it was positive for Mountlake Terrace.
Let's get you your Meadowdale starting defensive lineup. Malik Braxton, number 5, playing at one of the corners. Caleb Tingstad playing outside linebacker. The other linebackers, Jimmy Bruders, number 36. He had a huge year last year. He's back in there again at inside. Taylor Ruby, number 40, middle linebacker, and Charlie White, who had a great game last week, number 32 this year, playing the other outside linebacker spot. Malcolm Johnson barreling his way up the middle of the field there for a gain of about 2. Will bring up a 3rd and 10. To continue with that starting lineup, Stephen Blonto, starting strong safety, number 24. Nick Neely, number 1, playing free safety. And then Tyree Carson, number 22, playing the other corner. And then we'll get to that front 3 in just a moment here as well. A stalwart of a front 3 at that. Tim Smith, number 52. Tiano Tialavela, who I'm going to mess up his name all night. They call him TT. I'm going to start calling him TT as well. 350-pounder, wearing number 65. And Garrett Walsh, the end, who had a huge year last year as a junior. He's back again as a senior. Faking the handoff is Hopkins. He's going deep on 3rd and 10. Overshoots Gabe Brady. He had him open out in the flat. Just overfired the ball. Ball lands out of bounds, and that's going to bring up a 4th and 10.
Yeah, Gabe Brady had about a 5-yard cushion on him from the closest Meadowdale defender, and it looks like Hopkins just kind of reared back and threw it as hard as he could. So unfortunately for Terrace, it'll be 3 and out. It's kind of tough to get momentum when you start your first possession with a 5-yard penalty.
And look who's back to receive this punt, Malik Braxton. This is one of the better football players you're going to see in Snohomish County this year. He is a threat every time he touches the ball. Let's see if he gets his hands on it. Bates gets the punt away. Braxton fields it at the 21-yard line. Runs to his left, tries to cut back to the right, finds a little bit of a seam, and he's got an opening. He's coming all the way back to the right-hand side, trying to get outside. Cannot quite do so as he's finally dragged down by number 33. That's Riley Moore, and Riley maybe saving a touchdown there as Braxton brought that ball back about 29 yards. And Meadowdale is going to start off their first possession of this game in Hawk territory.
No maybe about it. He got around the corner, and only one Mountlake Terrace defender had the angle on him, and he made a good tackle on him. And the punt was actually a good punt. It got a good roll from Mountlake Terrace, but Malik Braxton made one cut after a good block and got another 25, 30 yards on the return.
Braxton, who is, we've been told we're going to see him in a lot of different formations tonight, starting off in a slot. And now going in motion here is Garrett Walsh is the only player in the backfield. Rowson throwing deep on the first play. He's got Braxton. Braxton catches the ball and is shoved out of bounds by Morin on the 15-yard line. Make that the 16, a 32-yard gain, and that's essentially a wheel route. Braxton starting off in the left slot, went in motion to the right and just wheeled it up the field. J.P. Rowson, the starting quarterback, finding him down the sideline, a gain of 32, and Meadowdale's in business early.
Yeah, that was a blown coverage. I saw Malik on the during the whole play, and no Mountlake Terrace defender caught him. He's kind of reminding me of Percy Harvin from the Seahawks. How he'll be moving around and doing pre-snap motions also, keeping the defense honest.
J.P. Roughton, the first-year starting quarterback, he's 1 for 1 today so far as he completes that pass. He's got Walsh in the backfield. Hands off to Walsh, and Walsh might have slipped as he was trying to go up the middle there. Austin Bates ready to make the tackle if need be, but that was pretty much just Walsh losing his footing. Lost a couple yards on the play, 2-yard loss.
I'm pretty sure Bates will say that was a clean tackle, not a slip on the field.
We will give it to him. He still gets credit for it in the scorebook, so why not? 2nd and 13 coming up. They're going to call that a loss of 3. And the Mavs still in good field position here. They're in the red zone. 2 receivers out to the right-hand side. That is number 19, Harrison White, lining up on the outside, and then Donovan Edmonds lining up in the slot. Roughton rolling out to his left, firing downfield, complete! And into the end zone goes number 32. That's Charlie White, the tight end. All Wesco last year as a junior. He might be on his way this year. Touchdown, Mavericks. And with 8:52 showing on the scoreboard, Meadowdale out to a 6-0 lead.
Looked like a pretty easy drive for Meadowdale there. The big play to start for them at the 32-yard pass to Malik Braxton put them right in scoring position 2 plays later. And a nice pass from
Roughton.
From Roughton, yeah.
Brett Schaefer, last year's kicker, back onto the field. We know he's got a foot.
It was also a nice pass because the right-hand quarterback running to his left was able to make a pretty nice strike there on the left sideline.
Schaefer lining up for the kick. Placement is down. The kick is up. And the kick is good. So we are just a little more than 3 minutes into this game. Both teams have had a possession. Meadowdale 7, Mountlake Terrace 0. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
And we are back again. 8:52 left in the first quarter. Steve Willits along with David Koscheck. The Meadowdale Mavericks drawing first blood. 48-yard drive, culminating in a touchdown pass from J.P. Roughton to Charlie White. A 19-yarder along the left sideline. And the Mavericks up 7-0 here early on. Should also point out we've got a halftime score from up at Kamiak tonight, where Kamiak leads Edmonds Woodway 21-14 at the half. Schaefer booting this one up high, not real far. It's going to bounce at about the 14-yard line, and somebody from Mountlake Terrace might want to get on that ball. It's still loose. Fumbled at the 20-yard line. We await to get a spot from the referees or a ruling as to who recovered it, and apparently Mountlake Terrace comes away with the ball. Crisis averted if you're a Hawks fan.
Yeah, don't forget on the kickoff, that ball is live as soon as it's kicked, unlike a punt to where you can let it bounce. So I didn't see Meadowdale jumping up and down, and I saw the Mountlake Terrace offense running on the field. So Terrace fans could be a little bit more comfortable when they saw the pile clear out.
Justin Hopkins coming back onto the field. We want to give a little shout out for him and his family here in just a moment. Justin's twin brother Josh injuring his knee last week. He's out for 1 week with a bruised knee. As that's Jacob Walgren coming around the left-hand side. Wally finding some space, fighting his way forward to about the 29, we'll call it the 30-yard line, a gain of 9.
Gabe Brady on the nice block, too. He took out 2 Meadowdale defenders. I don't know if that was intentional, but he gave enough room to get around the outside.
And it's a gain of 9. That will bring up a 2nd and 1. I just started to mention that Mark Hopkins, the father of Josh and Justin Hopkins, let me know earlier that Kathy and John Mitchell, the grandparents of the two boys, are watching the game in Philadelphia tonight. So I would like to say hello to them and thank them for watching all the way from in Pennsylvania. Hopkins hands the ball up to Malcolm Johnson, and Johnson pushing his way to the 38-yard line. Malcolm is a load, and he gets forward all the way to the 38, a gain of 8, and gets Mountlake Terrace their first down of the ball game.
Yeah, I would think the 2 highlighted running backs tonight are Malik Johnson and Malcolm Johnson, and 2 different running styles. Both are effective, but when you watch tonight, you'll see one just runs north-south, and the other can really make some moves around the outside. It's very quick getting up the field.
And I don't want to take anything away from a couple of other guys, too. Ryan Lacoste had over 120 yards last week for the Hawks. Don't see number 8 in the game right now, where actually he's on a wing, but we will see plenty of him later on. As Malcolm Johnson once again pushes the pile forward, gets ahead to the 47 for a gain of 9. So between Malcolm Johnson and Ryan Lacoste for Mountlake Terrace, Malik Braxton and Rory Spillum, who had a nice game last week up at Lake Stevens, got quite a few good running backs in this game, and I have a feeling we're going to see quite a few of all 4 of these guys tonight. Hawks at the 46-yard line, a 2nd and 1. Looking to get something going here. They trail early 7-0. Wing formation once again. Malcolm Johnson bounces off the first guy, trying to find some space, but Charlie White and a few of his friends are not going to have any of that. Might have gotten himself back to the line of scrimmage. That will bring up a 3rd and 1.
Led tacklers by Charlie White for the Mavs.
Still having to adjust to Charlie White wearing the number 32 this year. I believe he was 84 last season. And I called a few Meadowdale games, and every time I look down and see 32, I'm thinking, who is this guy? And very quickly am I reminded that he's one of the better players in Wesco, and he's already got a touchdown on offense, and he just made a nice defensive stop there. So,
and there's proof that no one could say you don't do your homework from remembering his number last year.
He was a pretty darn good player last year as well. Here comes Lacoste on his first carry. Sweeps around to the left-hand side. Gets forward for a gain of about 3. Just enough for a first down, and Mountlake Terrace moving the chains one more time as they're looking to get into Meadowdale territory for the first time tonight. A couple more scores here to report to you. Not a big surprise here, but the game that is known as the Battle for Broadway, big rivalry game up in Everett. The Cascade Bruins are currently taking care of the Everett Seagulls 35-0 in the second quarter. Handoff to Walgren. He's looking for some space. A penalty flag comes onto the field there along the left-hand side as Walgren fights for a yard. And we await the call. Other score, this is a big one tonight. This is one that I'll be trying to follow all evening long because it might be the 2 best teams in Wesco, quite frankly, for 3A and or 4A. The Marysville-Pilchuck Tomahawks leading the Lake Stevens Vikings at halftime, 21-14. So again, 2 of the top teams in the state doing battle up at Lake Stevens tonight. It'll be a very interesting game to watch as these 2 teams are fighting for West Coast supremacy in terms of the Everett Herald Power Rankings, which I have a vote in, and two of us voted Marysville-Pilchuck as the #1 team in the region this week. The other rider, the third rider, voted Lake Stevens. So this game is going to determine.
So are you watching it as an unbiased observer, or do you want your pick to ring true and say, look, I told you so?
And that's always fun, right? We keep standings, and I'm in third right now, so I could use a little bump. But I would like to see a good football game, let's put it that way. Even though we're not watching it, we are here, and this is a good football game so far in itself. Hopkins dropping back to pass. He's looking out to his right. He's pressured. Fires the ball away at the last second. Avoiding the sack. That was number 52 coming in on the play. Timothy Smith. Smith, who was a all-Wesco offensive lineman last year, now getting to play on the defensive line with the graduation of Jojo Al-Qaderi. And we heard Smith was going to be a beast on the defensive side, and sure enough, he is.
Indication intentional grounding against Mountlake Terrace.
Intentional grounding called against Hopkins. I might argue that one a little bit in the sense that when he threw that ball, it did go in the vicinity of Malcolm Johnson.
If it goes in the middle of the field, it's kind of hard to say there isn't an eligible receiver there. But I thought they should have blown the whistle when he was kind of wrapped up running backwards. So
I think if they had done that, I would not have argued it. I would have definitely said he was in the grasp. I don't know that I would have called grounding on that play. The ball was thrown in that direction. But nonetheless, it is called. And Mountlake Terrace Hawks going the wrong way right now as they are now looking at a 2nd and 2.5, maybe 3 miles. Okay, maybe not quite that far, but it's 2nd and 36.
I'm sure Coach Umayim has something written up for this.
Let's see what he calls on 2nd and 36. Hopkins drops back, looking deep. He's firing the ball over the middle. Austin Bates was the intended receiver. He does get hit before the ball gets to him, but we need to point out a defensive player did get his hand on the ball. Once that ball is tipped, Bates is live bait, if you will.
Right. I understand the rule, but I was always thinking, so if a defender hits the ball, that means the other defenders have carte blanche on any receiver they see and just rip them.
Well, and obviously the rule is such because of the fact that it changes the momentum of the ball and the trajectory. And if a player is timing out his hit and a ball gets tipped and it goes in a different direction, there's really no way for the defensive player to pull up. So perfectly legal play there by the Mavericks. And consequently, the Hawks now looking at a 3rd and 36 at their own 23. 5:42 to go here in the first quarter. Hawks trailing early 7-0. Hopkins dropping back to pass. Tries to throw a screen pass out to Lacoste. Throws it behind him. That's going to bring up a 4th and 36. And that's going to bring Austin Bates back onto the field to punt for the 2nd time tonight.
Well, obviously that ball went to the turf, and it just sort of looked poorly executed. Even if it did get, even if it was caught, Meadowdale receivers were right there. Mountlake Terrace going to have to work on that play a little bit more because it wasn't there even though they threw it.
So Malik Braxton back to return the punt for the 2nd time tonight. Braxton has some folks watching tonight as well in California. He's talking to his dad, Andre, before the game, and he wanted to give a shout-out to Dean Martin, not the Dean Martin, but cousin of the family, as well as William Ward, a family member friend who is watching Malik and watching him call for a fair catch there. 37-yard punt that time.
That was Dean Martin in San Francisco?
Dean Martin in San Francisco, yes.
I wonder how many great reservations he can get when he calls into a restaurant.
Thinking it might be a different Dean Martin. This one's alive. It's the biggest difference right there. But anyway, Dean and William, we appreciate you guys watching in California tonight, just as we appreciate Hoppy's grandparents watching in Philadelphia and wherever you might be watching. Thank you for tuning into the Sound Live Sports Network. Shoot, give us a tweet if you want. Tweet us at Steve Willits, all one word, and let us know where you're watching. We'll give you a shout-out during the game. Rory Spillum getting his first carry of the ball game. Fights his way forward to about the 43-yard line, a gain of 3. That will give the Mavericks a 2nd and 7 on the play.
Back to the Lake Stevens game. Their quarterback, you said, was
Jacob Eason.
He's recruited by Georgia, and he committed?
He is verbally committed. He's not signed a letter of intent yet.
It's interesting why he was on the sidelines of the University of Washington Husky game last week. I don't know if he was just bored on Saturday or...
Let's talk about that in a minute. So we watch Rautenbach in shotgun formation, fakes the handoff to Spillum, looking deep down the field and firing the ball. He's got Charlie White open, and he makes the catch. White catches it on the 15 and is finally brought down at the 5-yard line. A gain of 52 yards. And Charlie White with his 2nd catch. He's got over 70 yards of receiving already. And Meadowdale is back in business once again.
Boy, oh boy, talk about a throw. There were 3 Mountlake Terrace defenders there, but hitting a receiver on stride. That was a pretty ball. Nice throw.
Those two
catch.
Those two hooked up a couple of times last week in the Lake Stevens game. Just watching some footage of that. And White, for that matter, we've got him down as having 103 yards. That's 103 yards of passing for the quarterback, J.P. Roughton. So a very nice first quarter for him. We still have 4:30 left on the clock. 2 of those catches going to White. Hand off to Spillum. No, Roughton keeps it. He's looking for some room around the right, cuts back, tries to find some space in the middle where Gabe Brady wraps him up and holds him up until his teammates get there to help out. And we do have a late penalty flag at about the 4-yard line as we await to see what the call is there.
That came out of the defensive backfield.
So getting back to your Jacob Eason comment there for the Lake Stevens quarterback, very interesting to note. We've never had a quarterback in this neck of the woods that's been recruited this high. He's listed in some as a number 5 or 6 recruit in the nation at quarterback for his class of 2016. Boy, that sounds old, doesn't it? It makes us feel old. Anyway, Eason is he's verbally committed, has not signed a letter of intent, and cannot actually do so until February of 2016. So therefore, the recruiting process for him is still ongoing, and if a school like the University of Washington, per se, would like to continue recruiting him, there's nothing that says they cannot do so. So he is still invited to come to the games, and Coach Chris Peterson or maybe some other coaches in this region have a little more time to try to get him, but at this point, Eason is signed or verbally committed to going to Georgia.
Hey, in the SAC, that's when they said the recruiting starts, when someone makes a verbal commit. So
that's very true. Roughton takes the snap. The penalty was against Meadowdale. Ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage. That might have been Austin Bates, number 15, that got his hand on that one. Brings up a 2nd and goal at the 17. And yeah, Georgia, a school that's Aaron Murray last year was a 3 or 4 year starter. Matthew Stafford, who plays for the Detroit Lions now. Fran Tarkenton, Hall of Fame quarterback. Georgia's they've put out some pretty good quarterbacks over the years. So who knows? Maybe Jacob Eason goes there eventually and does Wesco proud and does Snohomish County proud and fights his way into the NFL one of these days.
That's true, but if you could put up histories of quarterbacks between Georgia and University of Washington, you, of anyone, should know who would win that argument.
I might be a little bit biased as well, as Braxton goes in motion here. Did not hand off the ball to him, or did they? No, the ball's on the ground, and Mountlake Terrace recovers it as number 5, Mikey Jensen, coming up with the ball. Nice play by Mikey, as I believe, little sleight of hand there. I think Roughton was trying to give the ball to Braxton as he came around. And the ball I don't think Braxton was ready for it, or I couldn't even tell where that ball was at first.
I think Braxton thought he was going to get it because as soon as he cleared the quarterback and realized he didn't have the ball, he turned around to look to see where the ball went. So almost to the point where he thought he would have gotten the ball. So regardless, Mountlake Terrace holds on defense and gets the ball back.
So Mountlake Terrace still trailing 7-0, 3:56 to go here. Lacoste taking the ball around the right-hand side on a sweep. Finally gets pushed out at the 28-yard line. Lacoste had himself a very nice game last week. Over 120 yards on 11 carries. Also had a huge interception late in the game to save what might have been the go-ahead touchdown for Mariner. Great interception, by the way, over his shoulder at the goal line and then returned it about 50 yards. He would look like a man among boys playing last week. Lacoste is really looking good this year. Yet to see him do too much tonight, but I have a feeling we're going to see him with plenty of touches as this game goes on. Picks up 4 there, and that gives the Hawks a 2nd and 6. Malcolm Johnson right back up the middle, puts his shoulder down, pushes his way to another first down. A gain of 8 for Johnson. And the Hawks will be at the 36-yard line. And they're moving the chains forward.
Boy, oh boy, wouldn't want to be a defensive back seeing that getting through the first line of defense. But you're right, he went down with the shoulder. But good tackling, actually, by I didn't see the safety's number for Meadowdale. He was definitely lower than Malcolm, which it gave him the leverage to bring him down.
And that was Nick Neely who made the tackle. Neely, a very experienced player in his own right. He had a nice year last year. He's playing free safety right now. Very fundamentally sound football player, and he's not afraid to put his nose in there and get after Johnson when he needs to, and he's going to have to, I think, a few more times tonight before it's all said and done. This time, however, Johnson is stopped a little bit sooner. Picks up about 4 yards on the play as he goes right up the middle. He's finally brought down at the 40-yard line. Got another score here for you from John Richards, a.k.a. Superfan, sending us a score via Twitter, which we always enjoy. Halftime, Glacier Peak 21, Shorewood 7. I believe that game is at Shoreline tonight, so Grizzlies looking to run their record to 2-0 after beating Snohomish last week. Shorewood also had a victory as Hopkins is going to keep this one. I think that might have been a read option there, is fake the handoff, or at least look to hand off at first before tucking it away, and lost a yard on the play. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 7.
There was some miscommunication there. It looked like both Lacoste Johnson didn't want the ball, and so, or I'm sorry, the quarterback Hopkins and Malcolm didn't know who was going to take the ball there, so just kept it and lost a yard.
Well, let's see if the Hawks are going to try to pass here. 3rd and 7. This is a Mountlake Terrace team that completed 1 touchdown pass last year. They only completed 1 pass all of last week. 3rd and long has not been a friend of the Mountlake Terrace Hawks over the last couple of years, as Lacoste is going to take this one and try to sweep it out to the right, puts his shoulder down, barrels past one guy before he's finally brought down at the 42-yard line, maybe the 43. Strong run by Ryan Lacoste, but not quite enough for a first down. It's going to bring the punt team on one more time.
Gain of 3, 4th down situation for Terrace.
1:45 to go here in the first quarter. Meadowdale 7, Mountlake Terrace 0. Malik Braxton back to return. I was going to say for the 3rd time tonight. The 2nd time he actually fair caught it. Time before that he returned it about 28 yards. And Mikey Jensen, the punter this year, he was place kicking last year. This year apparently he has both duties. Gets off a very nice high booming kick. Jensen's got a foot. We know he can kick field goals. We've seen that.
Wow, what
Braxton catches that ball along the sideline at about the 11-yard line. That ball, 46-yard punt, all in the air, and he kicked it right into the sideline where Braxton couldn't return it. It's one of the better punts I've seen all season so far after covering a handful of games this year. I think Mountlake Terrace might have found themselves a pretty good punter.
Yeah, all 3 kicks have been nice. But right now there's a flag on the field, and if it is against Meadowdale, it would be enough for a first down. But I don't know if they're walking back to give Mountlake Terrace the ball or to have them re-kick. And it looks like it's going to be against Mountlake Terrace. That's too bad, but we get to see the leg one more time.
Yeah, illegal procedure against the Hawks, so a 43-yard punt gets wiped out. Not only do they have to kick it again, they have to move back 5 yards. So we will replay 4th down, 1:15 showing on the clock.
Ball sitting on the 37-yard line of the Hawks.
Ball is on the 37-yard line. Mountlake Terrace on their own 37-yard line.
Mike Jensen in punt formation.
Malik Braxton standing back on his own 28-yard line. As Mikey Jensen gets ready to punt one more time.
Malik Braxton back for the Mavericks.
Kick is almost blocked as Jensen just got that one off. Takes a very nice roll, however, and it's going to go out of bounds almost at the same place that Braxton caught that last one. So we await the spot. Going to spot it out at the 15-yard line. So Jensen actually helped his average on that one. That's a 47-yard kick.
That's right. They lost 5 yards on the penalty, but only lost 3 yards on where the ball landed. So
I don't want
nice
to cheat.
kick.
I don't want to cheat Mikey, by the way. 48 yards, not 47. Give him that extra yard. He might need that later on if he's contending for any kicking titles. So 1:04 to go here, first quarter. Meadowdale 7, Mountlake Terrace 0.
Meadowdale starts this possession.
And Meadowdale will start their 3rd possession of the game on their own 15-yard line.
Yeah, Meadowdale in the first quarter definitely looks like the stronger team, but Terrace has to be pretty happy only being down 1 score.
Routon with the ball at the 15-yard line. He hands off to Spillum. Spillum finds some room. He cuts it back into the middle after initially starting to his right. Gets ahead to about the 22-yard line for a gain of 7. Austin Bates along with Ryan Lacoste in on the tackle.
Bates with help from Ryan Lacoste on the tackle.
2nd and 3 coming up for the Mavericks. 43 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
Mavs pick up 8 on the play. 2nd down and 2 from the Meadowdale.
Well, I'm really surprised we haven't seen more Malik. We're talking about last year's game. He really had a career against Mountlake Terrace just last year, so I thought we'd be seeing him getting the ball 3 out of 4 plays.
Yeah, ran for over 200 yards in the state quarterfinal game against a very good Eastside Catholic team last year. As Routon hands the ball off one more time to Spillum. Spillum fights his way forward to the 27-yard line. A pickup of a 5-yard gain and another Mavericks first down.
Mike Jensen with the tackle for the Hawks.
Mikey Jensen, number 5, on the tackle. He punts, he tackles.
4-yard pickup on the play.
Mikey Jensen doing it, and he also kicks. Doing it very well there. Clock starts to run one more time, and I believe that will be the end of the first quarter of play as the clock showing 7 seconds. Meadowdale very content to let it run down, and we have come to the end of the first quarter of play with our score Meadowdale 7, Mountlake Terrace 0. Appreciate our sponsor, Shoreline Community College, for sponsoring that quarter as well as the entire game. We're going to take a quick break. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
The Allstate Insurance Agency of Jeff Smar is a proud sponsor of Wesco Athletics. Located in Northwest Bothell, Jeff's office services many areas including Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell, and Mill Creek. Contact Jeff for a quote at 425-949-7103 or email jeffsmar@allstate.com. And we are back again. Some first quarter stats for you. So we look at those really quickly. Compliments of John Clippard from the Mountlake Terrace Hawks. Mavericks winning the first down battle 4-3. Total yards 112-56. So Meadowdale with a 2-1 advantage, even right there. Look at some of the offensive stats here as well. Mountlake Terrace, Ryan Lacoste, 3 carries for 10 yards. Malcolm Johnson, 6 carries for 37. Rory Spillum, 3 carries for 15 yards. As the play is whistled dead here to start the second quarter. A couple of the big numbers to look at, though, right off the bat. J.P. Roughton, the quarterback, 3 for 4 for 103 yards and a touchdown. Charlie White with 2 of those catches for 71 yards. Malik Braxton with the other one, a 32-yard catch. And that's been the biggest difference in the ballgame so far.
That or the turnover is the biggest difference, because it seemed like Meadowdale, like I was just saying, they're looking a lot stronger tonight so far. But to be down 1 score, Terrace has to be happy. But, yeah, he's thrown a nice ball.
And Roughton, who unfortunately our last game went a little bit long, so I didn't get a chance to talk to Don. Roughton in his first year as the starting quarterback, I believe, don't quote me on this, I might believe he's a transfer, taking over for Jeremiah Evans, and the ball is fumbled as Roughton able to get back on it. That would have been bad for the Mavericks as they fumbled that ball deep in their own territory. Roughton jumping on it at about the 16-yard line, a 7-yard loss for Roughton. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 22 for the Mavs. Yeah, so last year we had the Evans twins playing for Meadowdale, Jeremiah and Josiah Evans playing quarterback and starting wide receiver, and now little brother Donovan, who's wearing the number 10, is a receiver. So there's still an Evans presence out there, but it did mean that they needed to replace their quarterback this year, and I think they've replaced him pretty well. Roughton looks pretty good here so far. 2nd and 22, Roughton in the shotgun. Fakes the handoff to Walsh, drops back to pass. He's looking deep. He's looking for Evans, as we mentioned him earlier, and Evans cannot quite come up with that ball. Bounces off of his hands as Jacob Walgren is there on the coverage. Not a bad pass. It was a little bit tough in traffic. A pass that was catchable for Evans. Just couldn't quite come up with it, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, that would have been the play of the game if you did catch that. It was a nice throw considering if you're Mountlake Terrace, you're kind of waiting for the pass there. But this JP kid's got an arm on him, that's for sure.
So 3rd and 22. They're going to need his arm right here. Look for a possible screen pass to Braxton, though. We've seen this before, and this is a play that Meadowdale did run a few times last week. Braxton was sick last week. He didn't even finish the game. Came into it not feeling very well, but played a lot in the first half and had some nice offensive plays. Let's see if they go to him here. And sure enough, there's the bubble screen. Get it to him over the middle. He cuts to the right. Eludes a couple of tacklers before finally being brought down at the 24-yard line. A gain of 7. That's going to bring up a 4th and long. And that should bring up the first punting situation for Meadowdale tonight.
Boy, it's just watching the ball in Braxton's hands gets me kind of excited. I'm like holding my breath going, what's going to happen here?
Guy is electric, to say the least. Another guy who might be electric, dropping back into punt return formation. This is Daniel Johnson, younger brother of Malcolm Johnson. So we've got the cousin Andre plays on the team as well. So let's see if Daniel gets any action here. Punt is off, and a nice roll for Meadowdale as Johnson not able to come up with it. Might want to get out of the way of that one so he doesn't touch it. And the ball finally comes to a rest at the 15-yard line, a 60-yard punt. I believe that was Brett Schaefer on the kick. 60-yard punt, 6-0. Not too shabby.
Yeah, it was one of those. He ran to his right, and he took a while to kick it. And when it was more of a line drive kick, but on this turf, it just rolled for 20, 25 yards.
Yeah,
like.
rugby-style kick that it's becoming more and more common in the game of football, especially teams that do play on turf. They know that they can get that roll. If they can get around the side like that and let their team get down the field to cover it, quite often the receiving team isn't able to field it, and if you get the right roll, that thing will just keep going and going like it's almost taking off downhill, and that's exactly what happened there. Hopkins back in at quarterback. Hands off to Malcolm Johnson. Johnson trying to cut back into the middle. Not finding much room. I believe Garrett Walsh and a few others in on the tackle. No gain for Johnson. Tingstead, also Caleb Tingstead, number 6, in on the play. And we'll bring up a 2nd and 10 for the Hawks. 9:45 to go here in the first half. 7-0 ball game so far. Meadowdale taking the lead on a 19-yard pass play from Roughton to Charlie White in the first quarter. Ryan Lacoste trying to find some room out to the left. Pushes the pile forward a little bit and is finally brought down at the 23-yard line. A gain of 8 for Lacoste. And Walsh making another tackle on the play. That's going to bring up a 3rd and short for the Hawks.
Well, the running game for Terrace seems pretty good right now, but it also seems like Meadowdale is starting to kind of rely on that's what Mountlake Terrace is going to bring. It's going to be a run, so they can be a little bit more aggressive in the box. I'm just hoping for Mountlake Terrace's sake that they'll have more options the rest as the game goes on.
And that play is whistled dead here, as we believe have a timeout. Let's see what we get. We do, in fact, have a timeout for Mountlake Terrace. We'll take a quick break. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And welcome back. 8:53 to go here in the second quarter. The Meadowdale Mavericks 7, the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 0. Hawks with a big 3rd and 2 play coming up at their own 23-yard line. Mountlake Terrace, 3 possessions already tonight, 3 punts. Trying to avoid a 4th consecutive kick here. See what they can do on 3rd and 2. Ball is handed up the middle, and I believe pushing forward. I was going to say for a first down, but maybe not. And we get a very late penalty thrown into the pile there as Malcolm Johnson was on the carry, got tackled about a yard short. No doubt this is going to be a personal foul of some sort. It's against Meadowdale. It's an automatic first down. No. It's against Mountlake Terrace. They're going to be punting from very deep in their own territory.
Just waiting to see a reaction from either team to see either a celebration or hang their heads to see which where the foul's going against. But
you normally see a lot of pointing at this point.
Yep, and there's the first pointing.
You see Mike Jensen running in. He's the punter, so that's not a good sign right off the bat. Still waiting to see what the call is. Personal foul called against the Mountlake Terrace Hawks. Well, when you have a 4th and 1, the last thing you want to do is take 15 more yards off and make it 4th and 16. Yeah, you were going to punt either way, but now you're punting from deep in your own territory.
Yeah, Mike Jensen will be almost on the goal line, I think, here when he gets the ball, when he gets the snap.
Well, the tackle was made at the 23-yard line. It should be a half the distance, which it is, so they're going to put it right about at the 12. Which means Jensen will probably be standing in his own end zone here. If you are one bad snap away from making this a 2-possession ball game. If you're the Hawks, so definitely need a good snap here from number 55. Drew Clippert, the long snapper. He's a very good long snapper, by the way. He's had a lot of practice. I know his father pushed that upon him for many, many years, and I've watched him, and once again he gets off another good snap. Jensen with more of a line drive kick this time. It takes a favorable roll. And finally stops at the 44-yard line. That is a 43-yard kick. So, again, not a bad kick. No return in Meadowdale.
If it stays out of Braxton's hands, it's a good kick. So, considering where they kicked it from and where the punt landed, no return, Mountlake Terrace will take that. Their defense is playing well right now. So, Coach Umayam and staff have to feel pretty good right now that the defense can hold up. But
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Especially when you start to take into account, this is a Mountlake Terrace team that's not real deep. And they've been hit by the injury bug pretty hard so far. Pollinger, they're one of their best starting defensive linemen. He's out for a few weeks with an injury. We'll talk about Michael Hunt here in just a minute, who had just a gruesome injury last week. As Roughton back for the snap one more time. Hands it off to Spillum. Spillum looking for room on the left. Cuts it back into the middle. He's still going. He's got some space. Rory Spillum to the 25, the 20, and he might be gone. Penalty marker down at the 25-yard line. This one's coming back as one of the Terrace defenders got held there as he tried to cut Spillum off at about the 25-yard line. 56-yard run into the end zone. All for naught for the most part. He's still going to get a lot of that yardage as the penalty happened downfield, but he's not going to get the touchdown.
It'll still be a pickup about 20, 25 yards, but yeah, you're correct. Yeah, something looked fishy there because Mountlake Terrace was there for the tackle, and then he was just on the ground like he stepped in a hole. I wasn't sure what happened.
I think that was Riley Morin, number 33. Morin looked like he had the angle on him, and all of a sudden it looked like he went backwards all of a sudden. You're like, wait, what's going on there? And sure enough, hey, wanted to get back to what I was just talking about. So Michael Hunt, who plays linebacker for Mountlake Terrace, broken leg last week, had to be transported away from the stadium in an ambulance. I think actually spent, 2.5 days in the hospital, a surgery the next day. Didn't get out of the hospital until Monday, and so we definitely want to give him a shout-out. His football season came to an end. Hopefully he's back for baseball, one of the better baseball players at Mountlake Terrace.
I heard he begged to go to school Monday morning. That didn't want to miss any class. So hats off to you, Michael Hunt. We appreciate that.
Somehow I doubt that. But yeah, Michael, tough kid. So he's down on the sideline with crutches, or at least I saw him earlier.
Yep.
Pollinger's out. And also Josh Hopkins, the brother of Justin Hopkins, the quarterback. Josh, who had a very nice season at corner and at wide receiver last year, he's out for at least 1 week with an injury. So 3 of your starting defensive players are out. And Mountlake Terrace holding tough here so far through a quarter and a half of play. Roughton's going to look towards the end zone on this play. He's got Evans incomplete, as Riley Morin was covering Evans on the play and just overthrew him by a little bit. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 on the 30.
I think Roughton got a little excited there because he saw his receiver running the post is going to be open, and he really let that ball go, and he overthrew him about 5 yards. You did see that. Really
impressed with Roughton's arm so far.
Yep.
Definitely has the arm strength to complete those passes. Give Morin a lot of credit on that play too, as he was all over Evans, was right behind him by maybe a step or two. It was going to take a perfect pass to execute that play, and Meadowdale didn't quite get it, and that brings up a 2nd and long. As Roughton is once again back in shotgun formation. He's got number 19, Harrison White, lined up to one side. Now being joined by Jesse Nevlett. And that play is not going anywhere, as that was Spillum on the carry. Lost a couple of yards, and the Hawks defense continues to get tough down here. A little bit of a bend but don't break philosophy so far, as they let Meadowdale into the territory and then seem to kind of buckle down a little bit.
You're talking about the injuries that Terrace has sustained, which does happen. It seems like, you've been following Mountlake Terrace and Edmonds School District football for a while. Mountlake Terrace, unfortunately for them, is no stranger to small numbers and then also smaller numbers after injuries.
Yeah, not the deepest team in the district, that's for sure. So 3 injuries are not a lot of schools could overcome it a little bit easier. Roughton getting out of it there as he had 2 guys coming after him. Miles Austin now giving chase. Still scrambling around to the right-hand side. Tries to get forward, but he's not going to pick up very many yards. Might have gained 2 yards back to the original line of scrimmage. Austin Bates, a.k.a. Fife, on the tackle. Gain of about 1 yard.
That's what he's known as, Fife?
Used to live in Fife when the family moved up to Mountlake Terrace, so the students and all his teammates started calling him Fife, and it's kind of stuck, and he continues to go by Fife. You were probably looking for a better story. That's all I got. It's a true story, by the way. I'm not making it up.
of towns with worse names he could have been called coming in, but
he's not called Puyallup. That's 4th and 10 coming up here. This is kind of no man's land territory. You're a little bit too far away for a field goal, so they're going for it. Routon dropping back to pass, looks across the middle, finds his man, Harrison White, with the completion. A gain of 17 yards and a big first down pickup on 4th and 10.
There's that arm again. I mean, J.P. Routon really does have a gun, which helps for those intermediate size passes.
Yeah, good poise on that play by Routon as he just waited and let his receivers get open, didn't panic. Waited until Harrison White was wide open and connects for a 17-yard gain, and all of a sudden Meadowdale's back in the red zone again. 6:12 to go in the second quarter. They lead Mountlake Terrace 7-0, and they're looking for more. Malik Braxton lined up to the left-hand side here, and they're looking in his direction. He's running a slant pattern. Ball is almost intercepted. We're going to get a penalty flag in the end zone as Jacob Walgren and Malik Braxton getting tied up with one another.
Boy, I don't know how that could be a defensive pass interference.
The ball was thrown a little bit behind Braxton, more closer to Walgren than it was Braxton. I'm not sure that I agree with that either if they call it on the defense. Braxton almost looked like he became the defender at one point. They might be calling that on Braxton right now as Lacoste and Walgren are celebrating a little bit. And the referee marches backwards, so in fact they are going to call that on Braxton. Be curious to ask Mike Don, the head coach of Meadowdale, after the game about the strategy. I ran down to the field to talk to him before the game. We were broadcasting the game right before this, so I only had about a minute or two. He told me, he said, watch out for Malik. We're going to line him up a little bit differently tonight. And sure enough, the number 5, who's generally a running back, is almost playing nothing but receiver tonight.
I don't know if they're going to wait for the second half. I mean, like I said, I was driving here today thinking, wow, I get to see Malik Braxton again because he ran so well last year.
And there's a bubble screen to Braxton as Routon fires it over his head. That's the sort of thing I think they are looking to do with him on the outside, trying to get space for him, bubble screens, quick slants, things along those lines, and just give him the opportunity to make 1 or 2 jukes and get open in the out in the flats there. It didn't work that time as the pass was thrown away.
Well, I don't know if that was a forward pass or a lateral that went out of bounds. We'll just see where okay, they're lining it up. It was a forward incomplete pass.
Got another score here from Lake Stevens as Marysville Pilchuck and Lake Stevens tied up at 21-21 at the end of the third quarter in the battle for West Coast supremacy.
And for the record, Steve Willits did pick Pilchuck as the number 1 team in the North.
I did. And Edmonds Woodway Kamiak also 21-21 at the end of the third. So we've got a couple of good games going on tonight. Harrison White with another catch. He's got some room, and he's got the end zone. Touchdown Mavericks. J.P. Routon to Harrison White. A 30-yard touchdown. And Meadowdale now with 5:42 to go in the second quarter is up 13-0.
Nice pass and catch, and also want to give a shout out to tight end Charlie White, who made a great block after the catch, freeing up the receiver and gave him pretty much a clear run into the end zone.
So Brett Schaefer on to kick the extra point. Harrison White and Charlie White each with a touchdown tonight. 13-0 now. Meadowdale with the lead. And Brett Schaefer on to kick the PAT, looking to give the Mavericks a 14-0 lead. So we are now up just a little over midway through the second quarter of play. Schaefer's kick is up. Schaefer's kick is good. And the Mavericks are up 14-0. We're going to take a quick break. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger. And thank you for watching.
And we are back again. Edmonds Stadium the Meadowdale Mavericks, wearing the home blue, now up on the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 14-0 after a 30-yard touchdown pass on 2nd and 25 from J.P. Roughton to Harrison White. All about hitting the players with the name White tonight. Not related, by the way, Harrison and Charlie. They do have the only 2 scores of the ballgame so far for either team. Daniel Johnson fields that one into the end zone, which in high school means an automatic touchback, and the Hawks will take over at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that last drive at Meadowdale, they were on the field for a long time because they were driving. I think they got a lot of yards, but a lot of it also called back due to penalties. So the defense for Mountlake Terrace was out there a long time. And just watching this Meadowdale offense, they could stall a little, but when they need a big play, they have options because they have tall receivers and a quarterback with a cannon. So you can never really relax if you're a Mountlake Terrace fan thinking it's 3rd or long or 4th or long because Meadowdale team is looking like they're in mid-season shape right now.
Yeah, we'll comment on that in just a minute here as Hopkins hands off to Walgren. Walgren getting around the right-hand side for maybe a gain of 2 yards. We'll bring up a 2nd and 8. Yeah, this is a Meadowdale Mavericks team that made it to the state quarterfinals last year. A huge matchup against Eastside Catholic. This Walgren was a gain of 2 yards on the play, number 20. This is a team that was down by 5 in the quarterfinal game with a minute and a half to go, driving for what could have been the potential winning touchdown before an interception basically ended the game. They were 30 yards away from advancing to the state semifinals. Mm-hmm. And, oh, by the way, a lot of the best players on that team were only juniors last year. I mean, you've got guys like Malik Braxton, Rory Spillum, Jimmy Bruders, Garrett Walsh, Charlie White, and I'm probably missing a few in there as well, as Malcolm Johnson fights his way forward to the 26-yard line before he's finally tackled. I mean, Brett Schaefer was one of the best kickers last year. Nick Neely had a huge year, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is a loaded team, and I made the mistake of going on KRKO radio last week up in Everett, and I predicted that Meadowdale would go undefeated for the regular season. Didn't last very long. They lost to Lake Stevens last week, but this is still one of the top teams in the area, and yeah, they're loaded with talent.
I remember the question a couple years ago after Coach Stewart left Meadowdale. It's wondering what kind of program did he leave, and it seems like they have not skipped a beat at all, if not growing even stronger. Every year. So
very senior-based team this year, so this is kind of their year. If they're going to get something done, this is where they need to really make it happen. As Malcolm Johnson fights his way forward once again. That was a 3rd and 4 play. He gets forward for maybe 2 yards, and that's going to leave the Hawks short, 4th and 2. And unless you're Rory Rosenbach, the head coach at Glacier Peak, who loves to go for it on 4th and anything in within his own 30-yard line. Most coaches, however, subscribe to the theory of punting in this case, and that's exactly what the Hawks are going to do.
And Terrace has a good punter, who's unfortunately for them getting a lot of work tonight.
Yeah, you're definitely playing the field position game right now, and Mikey Jensen has shown that he's got the foot. One number 5 kicking to another as Malik Braxton stands back on his own 40, awaiting the kick, and Jensen gets off another good one. This one's going to hit at the 45-yard line. Unfortunately for Jensen, he does not get the roll as it bounces backwards. Not sure why the Hawks waited so long, but at any rate, ball comes all the way back to the 45-yard line of Mountlake Terrace. 16-yard net punt on the play.
Yeah, that ball bounced on Meadowdale's 45 and started rolling towards Mountlake Terrace, went for 10 yards, and there were Terrace defenders on the ball right at the 50 kind of watching it roll instead of jumping on it. But I guess it's still early in the year for them too, so that'll be brought up in practice this week, I'm sure.
Yeah, the one thing to watch for on those punts as well, and I've noticed this on the last few punts, a lot of pressure coming at Jensen. They're letting these guys come right through the middle. If they're not careful, one of these punts is going to get blocked. Spillum with a carry one more time. He finds some space and is finally tackled down at about the 35-yard line by Daniel Johnson, the sophomore. Close to 10 yards. It might have been just a bit short. Spillum with 9 yards on the carry, and Rory Spillum getting quite a bit of work tonight.
Yeah, for Mountlake Terrace, there are 3 minutes left in the half. Obviously, they want to keep Meadowdale off the scoreboard another time because if you go into the halftime down 3 scores, it's going to be a little bit tougher than last week when they were down 13-0. So we'll see how this defense holds up. They've been playing well tonight. We'll see what happens here.
Falling behind Mariner by 13 is a little different than falling behind Meadowdale by 14. Is Spillum finding more space out on the right, and he's still going. Penalty flag is thrown down, so this one might be coming back as well. However, Spillum does get ahead to the 15-yard line, a gain of 21 yards. But the penalty flag is sitting back on the 35-yard line, usually an indication of a holding or an illegal block of some sort. So we await the call here from the referee.
Terrace defense staying back, and then there's Meadowdale offense moving back to the original line of scrimmage.
Clock showing 2:28 to go here in the half. Malcolm Johnson, big number 9, coming off the field right now.
It looks like it's going against Meadowdale.
It will be a spot foul. So, again, the flag was thrown at the 36-yard line, which was the original line of scrimmage. Play was originally a 2nd and 1. So we're probably looking at a 2nd and 11 now. Let's see as we await to see the referee actually put the ball down, and that's, in fact, what it is. So 2nd and 11 coming up for the Mavericks from the Hawks' 46-yard line. Plenty of time left on the clock for the Mavericks. They certainly don't need to rush anything. 2:28 showing on the clock for the second quarter.
And Meadowdale has all 3 timeouts left. But they've sort of been shooting themselves in the foot this first half, even though they've been making up the yards, but they're making it harder on themselves.
JP Routon once again back to throw. Fakes the handoff. Throws it deep down the left-hand side of the field. He's got Braxton open and not quite able to connect, as Braxton got turned around a little bit, initially looking over his outside shoulder, looked back in, but by that time it was too late. Ryan Lacoste on the coverage. Ball falls incomplete, and that will bring up a 3rd and 11 for Meadowdale.
If I said how strong J.P. Braxton's arm looks tonight, that was another one.
Mentioned it once or twice.
Running to his left again. Now there he didn't throw running left, but he did plant, but going to the left planting and letting that thing fly 50-some yards in the air. That was nice to watch.
And Braxton, a new wide receiver. I mean, he's normally used to playing running back, and he looked like a little bit of an inexperienced wide receiver there as he got himself a little bit turned around. As Routon looks downfield, connects to Donovan Evans, who's tackled at the 35-yard line. Might be just a bit short of the first down marker. It's going to be a 4th, maybe about a half of a yard to go here for Meadowdale. And yeah, getting back to that comment, and anybody who's watched me broadcast a Meadowdale game over the last 2 years knows that I am a big Malik Braxton fan. It's hard not to be. The kid just has moves that are unmatched in the Westco Conference, maybe outside of Austin Joyner up at Marysville-Pilchuck. Great running back, but certainly looks a little bit uncomfortable in that wide receiver spot as he's trying to learn a new position, I guess.
And what year is he?
He's a senior. Rory Spillum sweeping out to the right, finds some more space. Gets ahead to the 30-yard line, 4th and 1. And Spillum picks up 6 to move the chains forward. Meadowdale first down with 1:30 to go here in the half. But my point being that Routon put that ball really right where it needed to be. I don't mean to criticize Braxton on the play. I'm just trying to point out that Routon really showing a lot of moxie back there at quarterback. He's a heck of a player.
Yeah, it looked overthrown. It was only because Braxton was looking over both shoulders, slowing him down.
Routon has all the time in the world on this play. Finally fires it into the end zone where Evans is standing down there, and he catches the touchdown. Late flag as well as Walgren drills him out of bounds after the play. But Donovan Evans from 30 yards out from J.P. Routon, Meadowdale with a 20-0 lead with 1:08 to go here in the half. And we now unofficially have Routon down for 196 passing yards here in the first half of play. 3 touchdowns, too. That's not too shabby.
Now, the first 2 were okay touchdowns. This one was nice. He had time in the pocket, got a little pressure, stepped up, and threw almost kind of running right in the back of the end zone to where only his receiver can get it. And another great throw.
The score is 20-0 right now. You have to put that up on the board, but touchdown does count. And there we go. They finally put it up. Brett Schaefer in to kick his 3rd PAT of the game. Should say attempt his 3rd PAT. He's made 2 so far.
I don't know if you called it, but that personal foul was against Mountlake Terrace.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious on that one as Jacob Walgren came over and hit Evans after he had put a couple steps down. Schaefer with the kick. It is up, and it is good. And Meadowdale now with a 21-0 lead with 1:08 to go here in the second quarter. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And we are back again. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors tonight for sponsoring this game. Obviously, Shoreline Community College, our primary sponsor. Also thank Jeff Smar and Allstate Insurance. Jeff's very active in the sports community here in South Snohomish County, and appreciate his sponsorship. Action Jackson Plumbing, as well as many others. And Red Onion Burgers, who is our sponsor of our Player of the Game. And this year, our Player of the Game gets a Player of the Game t-shirt afterwards. So certainly a few different candidates right now. As an onside kick, and Charlie White recovers it. Meadowdale is in business as that ball was skip kicked right down to the 28-yard line, where it bounced right into squib kicked is what I was trying to say. 28-yard line where White recovers it, and Meadowdale already with 21 points on the board. They're in good position to get more before the half.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Mountlake Terrace wasn't expecting that. Meadowdale kicked off on Mountlake Terrace's 45 or 40-yard line, so really no loss to them to go for an onside kick, but they only had 3 or 4 Mountlake Terrace quote-unquote receivers there to get the ball, so we'll see if J.P. Rowan can get over 200 yards first half here.
Yeah, and that play was set up by the Jacob Walgren personal foul at the end of the last play. Maybe Meadowdale sending a message too. You want to hit one of our guys late? We'll onside kick you. Routen's going right back to the end zone. Penalty marker is down, and just out of the reach of number 19, Harrison White. Penalty flag thrown back at the 35-yard line. We wait to see what the call is here. Might have been a holding call as Austin Bates is celebrating on the Mountlake Terrace side of things.
I'm starting to really like this J.P. Rowan kid. Even when he misses by 3 inches.
Yeah, it's a good-looking throw.
Yeah. And that was one of those, if he misses, it was going to get intercepted. That only his receiver was going to get to it. So, Meadowdale has 3 scoring drives. 2 of the 3, they went for it on 4th down and obviously completed. So maybe that Glacier Peak coach knows something that some of the other coaches might want to take advantage of.
Yeah, and on both occasions, they were kind of in that spot where they were a little bit too close to punt, a little too far away to kick a field goal.
And the second one, it was 4th and 1 instead of 4th and 10 when it was the first time they did it.
Right. So valid point, though. I mean, when you're converting 4th downs and you're getting scores out of it, there's something to be said for that. But I think Meadowdale was in a position where they really couldn't do much of anything else at that point. And we see with Roughton as your quarterback, you've got some options. As Roughton throws a little screen pass to Braxton. Braxton finds some space. Flag goes down at the 43. Braxton's got a lot of space in front of him. He's going to the end zone. The question becomes, does the play stand? Based on where the flag was thrown, I've got to think it's coming back.
Yeah, there are a lot of crossing bodies in that play, and you could tell it was drawn up nice, but it would be easy to get a hold if you're on defense because you have players going opposite directions.
That is a perfect example, though, of Malik Braxton in space. And those are the plays that Mike Don is trying to draw up this year, apparently using him from the slot position and playing him out at flanker a little bit. Just having him cross over the middle. If he gets that ball in his hands, he's so dangerous, and we saw it there right now. That ball's going to come back, but if the touchdown had stood, that was all Malik Braxton. No flag on the play. Touchdown, Mavericks. You don't see that very often. The flag was thrown back at the 43-yard line. How that one got waved off, I have no idea, but hey, give Malik Braxton some credit. The touchdown stands, and Meadowdale's got 27 points.
Well, Coach Umayan was talking to the ref that seemed to be right there in the call, and so I'm kind of curious to hear from him after the game what the ref was saying, why they would pick that up.
So J.P. Roughton with his 4th touchdown pass of the half. He's now over, 230-something yards for the half? As we know what yard that was on now as we were watching. I want to say it was about the 43-yard line. So unofficially right now, we have him at about 239 for the game. Schaefer gets the kick up. It is through the uprights and good. That whole drive took 22 seconds. 46 seconds remaining here in the half. Meadowdale 28, Mountlake Terrace nothing. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
The Allstate Insurance Agency of Jeff Smar is a proud sponsor of Wesco Athletics. Located in Northwest Bothell, Jeff's office services many areas including Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell, and Mill Creek. Contact Jeff for a quote at 425-949-7103 or email jeffsmar@allstate.com. And we are back again, 46 seconds to go in the half. Meadowdale with 2 touchdowns over the course of 22 seconds, and they've doubled up their score from 14-0 to 28-0. Daniel Johnson on the return gets to the 18-yard line. And Mountlake Terrace, unless they can get 82 yards in 41 seconds, they are going to go into this half down 28-0.
And coming into the half, knowing or next half having the kickoff, so Meadowdale's going to get the ball to start second half, and the coach is going to have a good talk at halftime here.
And boy, J.P. Roughton, the Newport transfer, so he was at Newport High School last year, 6'3", 195-pounder. And, he is having himself one heck of a ball game here. I got a little distracted as I was watching Harrison White walk over to the bushes on the other side of the field. I think he was knocking on I don't know what he's doing there. Is he's trying to stretch out his leg or what?
Hey, when you got to go, you got to go.
Well, no, I wasn't going to go there. I kind of wondered that at first, but he's run over twice now, knocked on that pole, then he's run back. So I don't know if he's just having a little bit of fun or if he's
superstitious, but
maybe trying to stretch his leg out a little. I don't know, but at any rate, it distracted me. And the Hawks coming up with an 8-yard carry on that last play. Clock now showing 14 seconds as they just seem to be content to let this one go down to zeros and head into the half with a 28-0 deficit as Malcolm Johnson runs forward. He gains, we'll call that about 5 yards on the play. Picks up a first down as Garrett Walsh makes the tackle.
I thought you were pointing maybe at the Aurora Borealis is supposed to be visible down here tonight, and I got excited because you were sort of pointing to the sky, but no, you're just pointing at a Meadowdale player knocking on a pole.
Yeah, the overhang prevents
less
that.
exciting.
Much less exciting. One thing that is exciting is this Meadowdale offense. 4 touchdowns in the first half, 4 J.P. Roughton touchdown passes to 4 different players, and that's where we stand right now. Meadowdale 28, Mountlake Terrace 0. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get you caught up on some stats. Might even have we do have an interview coming up with a surprise guest. And we will have our Red Onion Burgers halftime show. Our Action Jackson Plumbing halftime show. Don't want to cheat our sponsor there. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And we are back again from Edmonds Stadium where our score, the Meadowdale Mavericks 28, the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 0. Steve Willits now being joined by Doug Podrowski, former editor of MLTnews.com, and now you have a different title this year. What is it, Doug?
Yeah, we've decided to make a change in how we're covering there, specifically at MLTnews.com, and it's exciting, actually, because I'm backing away from some of my other responsibilities and just concentrating on sports at the high school. And in the district, we'll cover a little bit of everything there, but I'm specifically looking at Mountlake Terrace sports, and it's exciting for me to concentrate on that one area because there's so much going on.
Yeah, quite a bit, and a school that has been fairly strong in the fall sports as of the last couple of years, and you're covering a couple of those sports. So one in particular that I'm very curious about this year is the cross-country team on the girls' side of things. They finished, 5th in state last year?
5th in state last year.
With a very young team.
Very young team. There was just one senior on the squad that graduated, so they're returning all of them. Coach Weber's got a couple freshmen that he's excited about, adding to the mix there. So, it'll be exciting to see what that team can do, not just here in the Wesco level, but district and even at state. I don't want to put them in state yet, but they're looking very strong and looking to see if they can improve on that 5th place finish from last year.
Yeah, and I know in cross country they take the top 5 scorers. I think if the rules were changed a little bit and it had only been top 4 last year, they would have won state. So I know they were 4 deep, and if they can get that 5th runner up there, they've got a very good shot this year.
Yeah, I think they do have a very good shot at that this year. It'll be exciting. The boys lost a few key members to graduation. But we've got a couple returning, a couple strong returning for them, so they'll be fun to watch also.
Tennis team is 1-1 right now, and we're broadcasting for Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace, even though you cover Mountlake Terrace. So we'll give Meadowdale a shout out there as they did beat the Mountlake Terrace tennis team 5-2. I believe it was yesterday.
Yes, that was
the
yesterday.
day before. So good tennis being played in this area. I know the Hawks swept, was it Getchell the week before? One of those teams.
Yeah, 6-1. They beat
6-1?
Getchell 6-1. Only lost the third or the fourth doubles match there, and actually won every game of the sets that they did win.
And I know a sport that both Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace should be very strong in this year, girls soccer. You've had a chance to get out to a couple of the Mountlake Terrace girls soccer games, right? How are they looking?
Yeah, that's a very interesting situation with girls soccer. They've lost quite a few of their strong seniors from last year to graduation, Maddie Christensen being one of them, but Amanda Avocero graduated, their goaltender. So there's an article up on MLTnews.com right now about their prospects this year. And brought in a lot of new people, a lot of freshmen, and they're actually still looking for people. They need a goaltender.
Oh, really? Okay,
so,
good to know.
Yeah, if you're a student at and MTHS and want to play goalie for the girls soccer team, go talk to the coaches because they're still recruiting for that.
Well, and we should mention they lost a lot of their defensive firepower last year with Christensen and Frolich and Aversano at the goal. But they had a lot of juniors last year playing up front that were scoring quite a bit. So I know that they've got a nice offensive team. So if you like scoring in soccer, Mountlake Terrace girls soccer might be where it's at this year.
They scored 8 goals Tuesday night. Picked up a couple last night. Just 2 in the last 2 minutes to make it respectable against a very strong team from Inglemore. Lily Hart is their leading scorer from last year. She's back. Lily Hart's got a couple of younger sisters. Twin sisters that are freshmen that are playing on the team. So that'll be an interesting mix to watch the Hart sisters all go at it together.
Convenient for Coach Hatch and the gang, right?
Carpooling. Sure.
And hey, let's mention the volleyball team here. First Wesco championship in over 30 years last year. Lost a few players, but they returned quite a few as well.
Yeah, I got to see them play a little bit last Saturday up at Mariner at a preseason tournament, and Coach Snyder does a great job. She's in her 11th year now. There's some real stability there in the coaching, which is very strong. That's one thing that I've really noticed is that the coaching is very strong at Mountlake Terrace High School. They've made a couple of really strong improvements in girls soccer, girls basketball, of course, with Zach Wild. Came in last year for his first year. And so girls basketball is going to be fun to watch this year. They've got a major loss there in the basketball team. Samantha Romanowski is out for the year, torn ACL.
She's out for the year?
Out for the year.
I did not know that. Okay.
What if I understand? She won't necessarily say that completely. I think there is some hope that she comes back. I haven't talked to Coach Wild about it yet, so maybe.
Hey, nobody's watching anyway, right? So we're okay. We didn't break any news there.
I might have to say I was wrong about that. Hopefully Samantha could be back, but it's going to be a stretch.
And Samantha 18th birthday yesterday, by the way. Happy birthday, Sam.
Yes, happy birthday.
And yeah, we certainly hope she's okay. She's one of the best basketball players in the state, and I know she was on a traveling AAU team that plays throughout the country, and if she is gone for the season, that is a huge blow for Mountlake Terrace.
That's where she got the injury, was this summer playing for that team, and it's disappointing. She's disappointing, senior year and all. I saw her last week, but hopefully see what kind of recovery she
keep our fingers crossed. And speaking of Mountlake Terrace injuries, I know we mentioned it on the air earlier. Michael Hunt breaking his leg in the Mariner game last week.
Yes.
Had to be transported via ambulance to the hospital. He spent a couple days in the hospital.
Yes.
You mentioned that you've talked to him and his parents. What's the prognosis there?
Well, he's in pretty good spirits. He's actually here tonight at the game. Here it is 7 days later, and he's here with the team cheering from the sidelines. He'll be up for some physical therapy in 2 weeks. Can't bear any weight on it for maybe up to 2 more months. Baseball is his real love, and he says he will be back playing baseball for his senior year, this coming spring. So we'll see. It looks like it was a clean enough break. Both bones, tibia and fibula, broken in 2 places, but they were clean enough that they've stuck a rod in there and 7 screws. Or 5 screws, and 3 of them will come out soon, and then hopefully the rehab will go well, and he wants to be throwing the ball come spring.
Great outfielder for Mountlake Terrace. A lot of stolen bases last year too, and I'm sure head coach Andrew Waters likes the sound of that. I know I got a text from him the next day asking me about the broken leg after it happened, so I know that the baseball team is hoping that Michael's able to get back, and certainly it's his senior year. Great kid, by the way, from all indications and everything I hear. And
Michael Hunt's mom wanted to express that she's very appreciative to the Terrace High School community about all the support that they've received this week. They've gotten a lot of visits, a lot of meals have been brought to their house, and she wanted to specifically thank everyone in the community about that.
And that's my favorite part of the whole story. We're Mountlake Terrace guys, and to hear the community come through like that for one another. It's important, and I'm glad everybody's doing that and stepping up, and certainly we wish Michael and the entire family all the best.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug, it sounds like you pulled back from this editor position. I think you're just as busy as ever now, aren't you?
My wife is thankful that I'm not quite as busy, but it's exciting to be able to cover the sports aspect there at Mountlake Terrace High School and what's happening there. And district-wide. Great night for football tonight. Great turnout tonight. I was talking to Principal Allen of Meadowdale. They've got a huge student body here tonight. He says that's very typical for them. Great crowd from Mountlake Terrace. The Mountlake Terrace students came up for the away game last week. So great atmosphere tonight, and we'll see if we can have an exciting finish to this game. Mountlake Terrace has to step it up a little bit. But, it's a great night for football, and looking forward to a great season.
A great season all around for all sports, 2014, 2015, and you're going to be covering it all year long for MLTnews.com.
God willing. Let's hope so.
Well, definitely indeed. Hey, Doug Podrowski, thank you very much for coming on, and thanks for everything you do for our community and keeping us posted on all of the happenings, whether it be cross-country, track, volleyball, you name it. You've pretty much got your finger on the pulse, and we appreciate you for doing that.
It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Definitely. So we're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll get you caught up on the stats for the game and get you ready for the third quarter. You are watching the Action Jackson Plumbing halftime show. Our score, Meadowdale 28, Mountlake Terrace 0. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger.
And thank you for watching.
And we are back again where the Meadowdale Mavericks are leading the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 28-0 after one half of play. J.P. Roughton, the quarterback of Meadowdale, with 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers in the first half. And that is our scoring. Hey, we've got some stats here to throw at you right now as we continue on with our Action Jackson Plumbing halftime show. Looking at the game so far, Justin Hopkins, I've got him down unofficially for 0 for 4. And with 0 completions so far, he did complete 1 early on in the game that got called back. So we're still looking for our first Mountlake Terrace Hawks completion tonight. Ryan Lacoste, 6 carries for 31 yards for the Hawks. Malcolm Johnson, 9 carries for 45 yards. And Jacob Walgren, 2 carries for 11 yards. Looking at some of the Meadowdale stats, J.P. Roughton, we mentioned it earlier, 4 touchdown passes. Unofficially tonight, we have him down for 9 for 15 passing, so 15 attempts, 9 completions, 241 yards passing in the first half. And he's been spreading it out rather nicely. Braxton has 4 catches right now for, doing the math here, it looks like 114 yards receiving. Charlie White, 2 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. And Harrison White, 2 catches for 46 yards and a touchdown. Donovan Evans unofficially down for 1 catch for 10 yards. That might be off a little bit, as I know he's got a touchdown catch as well. So we've got 4 different receivers with touchdown catches. Looking at the rushing yards, Roy Spillum, that one's a little bit mixed up right now because he did have a couple called back after long runs. I want to say we had him unofficially down for over 40 yards right now, 52 yards. Once again, some of those yards were called back. We had to do a little math based on where the holding calls took place. But Spillum really the main threat on the ground right now, as Braxton doing more of it in the air with the receiving yards. And to look at the overall stats, you can imagine this is fairly lopsided with our score being 28-0. Unofficially, first downs for the game, Mavericks, 10 first downs to the 4 for Mountlake Terrace. Unofficial overall yardage, 259 to 87 right now. Obviously, advantage going to the Mavericks there, and they're dominating on the stat sheet, they're dominating on the scoreboard, and they're sitting with a very comfortable 28-0 lead right now. And the Mountlake Terrace Hawks better get something going very quickly in this third quarter, or this game's going to get become more and more of a blowout, Dave.
It's kind of a test for both teams. The test of focus for Meadowdale, because it's kind of easy to come out of halftime up 28-0 thinking this is going to be an easy second half, and it might as well be, but you got to stay focused on and still play tough defense and offense and not give up anything to Mountlake Terrace. For Mountlake Terrace, you got to show some character here. It's one thing to be down 28 points, but when it's 28-0, and I don't think Mountlake Terrace had the ball on Meadowdale's half of the field yet tonight, if memory serves. So they're going to have to really buck up right now and focus, and don't let this game get any more out of control as it is already. And like we were saying, Meadowdale's going to start the second half with the ball. So if you're the Mountlake Terrace defense, this is where you can start making a statement.
Well, and you better make a statement on offense, and let's just call it what it is. We're now through 6 quarters of play here in the season for Mountlake Terrace. 6 quarters of action, you have completed 1 pass all year long. You have to be multidimensional. You cannot just rely on your running game and your running game only. And that falls on a lot of different players right now. It starts at the quarterback position, but it really goes to the line and the receivers as well. These guys have got to be able to move the ball through the air, or it's going to be a long year. Yeah,
you make it kind of easy for the defensive coordinator on the other team when 99% of the plays are going to be on the ground. So if you're a Meadowdale Maverick, you're having a great night right now. And look, they have a nice turnout. They're the home team tonight, even though both teams call this their home field. But Meadowdale's at home. The band sounded great at halftime, and their half the stands are packed.
Well, and Meadowdale's getting ready for the big game next week. It's the Jam the Stands game, the big game of the year, the Meadowdale Edmonds Woodway game.
Well, what's bigger, Jam the Stands or Battle the Broadway?
Well, based on the score tonight, I would say Jam the Stands. But then again, I'm biased. I'm a South Snohomish County guy. Battle of the Broadway, by the way, is, for those who don't know, that's Everett versus Cascade. There's a lot of good rivalries, though, in Wesco. You've got the Stilly Cup, which I believe is taking place tonight. I haven't seen a score, but or maybe I'm wrong on that one. But anyway, oh, no, I take that back. Arlington's playing Snohomish tonight, but Arlington plays Stanwood in the Stilly Cup every year. Last week we had the Dick Armstrong Cup between Glacier Peak and Snohomish. Edmonds Woodway and Meadowdale has Jam the Stands.
So there is a rivalry from a school that is 6 years old. So the tradition goes back a good 6-7 years. The rivalry is fine, but these names, I'm kind of
well,
is the marketing?
Dick Armstrong was the longtime, the late Dick Armstrong, I might add, was the longtime head coach at Snohomish High School. As a matter of fact, coached them to a state championship game back in the 70s. Might have even won 2 state championships. So we'll give him his props. And that school basically got divided up when Glacier Peak came about. Looking at number 32 limp off the field here is Michael Liddell, hurt on the kickoff return there.
Maybe as a Terrace alum, I'm a little jealous that our rivalry with Linwood doesn't have an official title yet. If we can get some creative people out there to tweet Steve Willits what we want to call this.
Basketball game's the power plunger game or whatever it is, so there's a little bit of a rivalry there, but it's not much of a rivalry.
Action Jackson sponsoring that one?
Not a bad call. That's not a bad idea. We should get Action Jackson on that one.
I'm always thinking big picture. You
can tell it's 28-0 based on the conversation. Is Routon looking for more, and he's going deep right off the bat. Was looking for Caleb Tingstad, the intended receiver. Tingstad, who played a little bit of quarterback, a little bit of tight end, and a little bit of fullback last year, and is probably going to play at least 2 of those positions throughout the year, as well as defense. Couldn't quite come up with that one. So the penalty marker is down, and the Meadowdale players are already pointing in the direction of Mountlake Terrace. But getting back to the main point, if you are a Meadowdale fan, not to look a little bit too far ahead at this point, there's still another half of action, but you look like you might be on your way to a 1-0 record in conference. You're up 28-0 now. And the Edmonds Woodway game is going to count this year.
Yep.
That was we had a little bit of a restructuring. Every 2 years, the schools get realigned based on their
enrollment.
And it's been determined that 3 of the schools that played Wesco 4A last year, they have an enrollment that's a little bit lower than it was 2 years ago. So consequently, Edmonds Woodway, Linwood, and Arlington are all dropping down from 4A to 3A, which means that all 4 of the schools in the Edmonds School District are now in the same conference again, which makes it exciting for all of us. As Spillum takes the handoff to the left-hand side, he's looking for some space, pushes his way to the 46-yard line. It's finally brought down out of bounds after a gain of 11. Tackled by Jacob Walgren out of bounds. Gives Meadowdale another first down. So these are 4 teams that were all playing each other throughout the course of the years in pretty much every sport. But most of those games, or half of those games anyway, would not count in the standings.
Right, for bragging rights only. So this is bragging and where you're going to end up in the standings.
Now all 4 of you are in the same conference, same division for that matter, and every week the games matter now. And so the Jam the Stands game, 8 p.m. next week right here. Either get out to that game or watch it right here on the Sound Live Sports Network. As Spillum looking for room to the right, and he finds nothing. Number 5, Mikey Jensen, making a very nice play on that one, the junior linebacker. Taking Spillum back for a 5-yard loss. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 15. So another doubleheader next week on the Sound Live Sports Network. Mountlake Terrace Shorewood at 5 o'clock. I'll be on the call for that game. And then Keith Neely and Steve McGrain will have the Jam the Stands game. Edmonds Woodway and Meadowdale.
So I'm assuming if it's called Jam the Stands, if you're a Meadowdale or Edmonds Woodway fan or student, you're going to want to get here kind of early.
Get here early for a couple of reasons. One being that it's going to be packed as it is. As Spillum takes the handoff around to the right-hand side, he finds enough room for a first down. Is finally brought down at about the 48-yard line, gain of 7. And I take that back. That's not the first down marker. They were pushed back after that last 5-yard loss. Gets back past the original line of scrimmage, which gives him a 3rd and 8. Yeah, not only will that game be packed because Edmonds Woodway and Meadowdale fans and just Edmonds people in general like to come out and watch that game, but keep in mind you've got the 5 o'clock game right before that. Makes it a little bit tough for people to get in and out as the Mountlake Terrace and Shorewood fans will be leaving while the other fans are coming in. So it should be a very packed night here, but a fun night, and really do recommend that people get out to those games. Hey, we even recommend more so that they come watch them on the internet and watch us on the Sound Live Sports Network. But anyway, it's going to be a good weekend of football. A lot of fun, and that's a big rivalry game and might go a long ways in deciding who wins Wesco. Malik Braxton was open, and he couldn't quite come up with it. Again, not a bad throw by Routon, as Braxton looked like he just kind of pulled his hands back at the last second. And
and similar to last half where Braxton was down in the same corner, looking over his left shoulder when the ball was thrown, and then he had to try to readjust, looking over his right shoulder, and it sort of slowed him down. So it's a good throw. Not to say if he was looking the right way the whole time he would have made the catch, but it was close.
And I didn't realize this earlier. I thought it was Schaefer punting. It's actually Braxton that's back to punt.
Yeah, I was looking for I saw the socks on Braxton, so I'm like, is that another guy with lime green socks? But no, it was Braxton.
Kicks the line drive to the 20. Daniel Johnson jumps on it at the 10-yard line. That was a bit of a dangerous play. Nice kick by Malik. He knocks it down the field, 43 yards, no return. And Mountlake Terrace will start their first possession of the second half on their own 10-yard line, down by 4 touchdowns.
Well, the defense did a good job there. There's only one, I don't want to say boneheaded play, but they gave up a personal foul, and that was most of the yardage Meadowdale got in that opening drive for them. So defense from Mountlake Terrace held strong there, and now it's offense's turn to shine with their back right in the shadow of their own end zone.
So Gabe Brady, the Mountlake Terrace wide receiver, lined out to the far right. Jacob Walgren playing one of the wing spots. Lacoste on the other one. Lacoste running it to the right-hand side. Gets a little bit of an initial push through the line, but it is not going to get very far. Picked up about 3 yards on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 7. Lacoste, who ran for over 120 yards last week, not quite having the same night tonight so far. Got him unofficially about 30 yards right now. We've got a few more final scores to pass along to you. Actually, I'm not sure if this one's a final score or not at this point. We had a fourth quarter score of Marysville-Pilchuck leading Lake Stevens 27-21. We'll work on getting a final for you eventually. We do have a final from up in the north end where Kamiak has defeated Edmonds Woodway tonight, 28-21. Fake handoff to Lacoste. Pass to Malcolm Johnson, and he can't quite come up with it. Ball hits his hands at the 16-yard line and ricochets out of bounds, incomplete. Could have thrown to either Johnson on that play. His younger brother Daniel was running a route about 6 yards behind him and waving his arms, trying to get Josh to throw him the ball, or Justin rather, to throw him the ball.
You know, Hopkins, that's a good pass. It was right in the hands, like I said, of Malcolm. It was just in and out of him.
And we do have a final score now from Lake Stevens, 40-28. Marysville-Pilchuck pulling out the 12-point victory tonight.
And Steve Wilson.
Gabe Brady makes the catch, the second completion of the season for the Hawks. First completion for Brady. And that's good for a first down. A big 3rd and 7 play. picks up 8 yards when you only needed 7, moves the chains, and I will say that about their 2 completions this year, both coming on 3rd and long, both converting first downs, as last week Justin Hopkins converted a big 3rd down play to Austin Bates, which ultimately led to a drive down the field and the Hawks winning that game 14-13.
Sorry for talking over you there. I knew you would be excited with that final up at Maysville Lake Stevens.
It happens. And Malcolm Johnson trying to find some yardage along the right-hand side. Doesn't find much. He gets about a yard. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 9 play. And I think we already mentioned Kamiak beating Edmonds Woodway tonight, 28-21. Kamiak getting their first win of the year. They lost to Marysville Pilchuck last week. I believe it was 41-16. Edmonds Woodway, who looked very impressive here against Jackson last week, beating Jackson 35-14 last Friday night in the early game. They fall to 1-1. Fortunately for them, this was another 4A opponent, so Edmonds Woodway is still 0-0 in conference play, but 1-1 overall on the year. Mountlake Terrace trying to run to the left that time. Nothing happening at all for them. The ball's going to go backwards. Ryan Lacoste on the carry. Spot him back for a 3-yard loss. We'll bring up a 3rd, and we'll call it about 12 on the play for the Hawks.
Trying to come up with some names for this Mountlake Terrace Linwood rivalry, because every rivalry needs a good name. One right now, how about the Fury over 44th?
That might have worked a little better when Linwood wasn't located in Bothell, but the Fury over 44th, huh?
I'm brainstorming here.
It's not bad.
Got some alliteration going.
Keep working on it. We'll get there. Nice play to Ryan Lacoste as he catches the ball out in the flat, fights his way forward, spins off of 2 tacklers, and is finally brought down. And the spot is going to be crucial here as he got down near the first down. It was 3rd and 12 from the 20 to start the play off. And depending on where they spot him, he might have picked it up.
Yeah, where the far ref is standing. That looks like a first down.
That's a good yak play there, yards after catch, as Lacoste was still a good 8 or 10 yards short of the first down when he caught it. Had to break a couple tackles, spun off of a couple for that matter, and was running right along that sideline, so it's really going to depend on where they mark it.
Yeah, he must have stepped out of bounds because the far ref had him at the first down marker, but they moved it back a couple yards.
Yeah, he picked up 11 yards. He needed 12, so that's going to leave them just a bit short. And that's going to bring Mikey Jensen back on to punt one more time. Yeah, by the way, you were talking about Linwood Mountlake Terrace a minute ago. I don't know if you, well, I know you did because we talked about it right before we went on the air. We'll get back to that in just a second here. Talk about the Linwood domination of Shorecrest earlier. Ball is dropped on the punt. That was number 1 fielding it. Nick Neely back there for the first time tonight. Recovers his own fumble at the 36-yard line. Punt at about 33 yards. No return from Neely. And Meadowdale takes over with 7:11 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Yeah, the Linwood Royals, through 2 games this year now, have not given up a single point. Shut out Stanwood last week here 6-0. A game that I had the honor and privilege, I guess, of calling. Nothing like calling a 6-0 football game. And then tonight, we called the 5 o'clock game here where Linwood defeated Shorecrest 55-0.
Feast or famine, but if you're a Linwood fan, I mean, when's the last time they were 2-0?
It's been a while. Rory Spillum with a nice run as he picks up enough for a first down. Another late flag, another flag coming at the end of a play as we await to see who they're going to call this one on. Ryan Lacoste on the tackle. Yeah, Linwood started out this season last year 0-8, won their final 2 games of the year. They defeated, I believe it was Garfield and Snohomish. Finished the season off with 2 victories, and now they've come into the 2014 year with 2 more wins. 4-game win streak for the Linwood Royals, who now have to go up to Glacier Peak and play the Grizzly over at Everett Memorial next Friday night. That'll be quite the matchup, and we'll find out, I guess, then if Linwood's for real or not. But through 2 games this year, they've outscored their opponents 61-0, and they look pretty good doing it.
Oh, this looks like it's against Meadowdale. And I believe it's after the play. So the play will get 10 yards on the run, and then the penalty yards tacked on afterwards. So, sideline warning.
Sideline warning, so you get one of those before you actually get penalized. I'm still a little curious here because I thought they were further up when he got tackled.
Yeah, Spillum got definitely to the first down marker.
The 46-yard line, and they're spotting it on the 39. Very curious about that. I don't know if that's just a mix-up on behalf of the referees and nobody's caught it or not. But I know they're now talking to Coach Mike Dunn on the sideline over there on the Meadowdale side of things, so perhaps that's what he's asking as well.
That's the first sideline warning, right? I didn't hear.
Yeah, you get a warning for the first one. After that, it becomes a penalty. So that was, in fact, a warning.
Warning and -7 yards, too. That is, I don't know what happened there.
Very curious, but at any rate, it's and I'm seeing second down on the board, first down on the marker on the sideline, so who knows what's going on. Spillum's going to say, you know what, let's not even worry about it. He picks up that and more and is finally brought down at the Mountlake Terrace 37-yard line, a gain of 24 yards. First down, second down, it doesn't matter. Rory Spillum running strong there. Gets into Mountlake Terrace territory, and the Mavericks are on the move once again. Boy, Meadowdale looking good here right now. 28-0 lead, and they're looking for more. Ball is up to Mountlake Terrace 38. Two receivers out to the right. That's Keenan Walsh, number 2, and number 7, Zach Johnson. Handoff goes to Spillum. He's looking for more room around the right-hand side, and Walgren, no, that's Gabe Brady, stepping up very nicely from his outside linebacker position. Nails Spillum backwards, might have lost a yard on the play. We'll bring up a 2nd and 11 for the Mavs.
Yeah, definitely try to get some rushing yards the second half with the 4-touchdown lead. I don't see Malik Braxton on the field right now. He wasn't on the last play, and it looks like his helmet's off on the sideline. So I don't know if they're just resting him or I don't know if he tweaked something. But now in my notes, I don't see Malik running any balls the first half. That was all pass yards. So, I mean.
Yeah, he's yet to line up in a running back position tonight. Here comes Spillum again along the left-hand side. Spillum's got room. He's to the 25, the 15, and is finally pushed out of bounds at about the 13-yard line. A gain of 27 on the play. Spillum giving Meadowdale a first down in the red zone one more time.
27 yards on the pickup. And the Mavericks, first down.
Yeah, I'm sort of scratching my head on Malik not rushing the ball in the first half, but when a team goes 28-0, I guess it's hard for me to question what the coaching staff is doing. So they have a handle on their offense better than I do. I am still curious why he's on the sidelines.
JP Roughton back to take the snap one more time. Spillum puts it on the turf. Bad handoff there on the play. He was able to jump back on it. Unfortunately for Meadowdale, they're going to lose a couple of yards as Spillum never quite had that one cleanly. Ball hit the turf, and Rory was very quick to jump on it. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 12. Hey, Dave, I wanted to bring up one other thing here, too. We were going to talk about this at halftime, and unfortunately some circumstances changed and weren't able to have our guest on. But another 5K fun run coming up to raise money for the Edmonds School District Foundation. Celebrate School's 5K run and walk on October 4th as Roughton hands off to Spillum one more time, and Spillum is dragged down from behind. That's number 56 making the tackle. Billy Parkins getting called for the first time there during our broadcast. Parkins very quickly into the backfield to make sure Spillum doesn't pick up any yardage, and we've got a penalty marker down.
A very late flag.
So again, this is money that's being raised for the Edmonds School District Foundation, money that goes towards funding many of the school programs that we have throughout the year and helping all of the Edmonds School District schools. I believe it's 33 or 34 schools, whatever it might be. If you want to register or learn more about the fun run, go to foundationesd.org. Once again, this is a 5K fun run that's taking place at the Alderwood Mall Saturday, October 4th. It will benefit the Edmonds School District Foundation. And, hey, 3.1 miles. It's a run or a walk. You can do either one. Appreciate all the sponsors and everybody else who is taking part in that and helping to make the Edmonds School District a better place for all of our kids who attend school there. I say our kids as a community, not for you or I, since we don't have any kids in the Edmonds School District, but you know what I meant.
I do. I'm just wondering what this penalty was. It was such a late flag, and the ref said it was a legal use of headgear as like almost a late hit or an illegal hit, but it was thrown so late.
And a lot of times if you do get the illegal use of headgear, it does come at the end of a play. A lot of times that's a spearing call. A player is down, and then another player leads with the head into a pile. So that's, if you're going to have an illegal headgear play, you will see that at times at the end.
It just seemed like it was very delayed. I'm going to be interested looking back later at the game.
2nd and 5 from the 9, and you mentioned that we hadn't seen Braxton carry the ball yet. That has just changed as he was the one running the ball to the left that time. Picks up about 3 yards on the play. It's going to leave Meadowdale just a little bit short here. 3rd down and maybe 3. Clock now showing 4:24 to go in the 3rd quarter. Meadowdale continuing to lead 28-0. Scoreless 3rd quarter thus far. Meadowdale looking to change that right now is J.P. Roughton, their first-year quarterback, the senior who transferred from Newport High School, continuing to take snaps. Hands the ball to Spillum. Spillum looking for some running room, and the Hawks are there to stop him. A few different players there. Billy Parkins was in on the stop. Tanner Munnis, number 2, getting in on that play as well.
It also didn't sort of make sense that spearing or whatever legal use of the helmet, they didn't get an automatic first down. Because now it shows 4th down unless that yard marker is wrong.
The one thing that I've noticed about high school, personal fouls do not give automatic first downs, which is, you don't see that in college or pro. They are automatic first downs regardless if they give you yardage past the marker or not. So that might have been the case in that play as well. This is where we need like Mike Pereira or one of the guys that does the Fox Sports broadcasting that's an
What's he doing tonight?
Yeah. Or Mike Carey. Schaefer with the kick. It is up, and it is good. Brett Schaefer connects from 28 yards out. He extends the Meadowdale lead to 31-0 with 3:14 to go in the 3rd quarter. We're going to take a quick break. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network. And here we are back at Edmond Stadium. Our score, Meadowdale 31, Mountlake Terrace 0. 3:14 to go here in the 3rd quarter of play. Brett Schaefer, the Mavericks kicker. It's a booming kick into the back of the end zone, something we've seen him do for a couple of years now. Not allowing Daniel Johnson to have a chance at a return, and the Hawks will take over at the 20-yard line. Dave, what can you say right now? Huh? There's not much to say.
Well, Meadowdale's got a pretty potent offense. The running game's pretty good, but obviously we saw their passing game led by J.P. Roughton is as good as a passing threat I've seen in years, watching a lot of high school football. Mountlake Terrace, on the other hand, we always know they have good running backs, but if there's no throwing threat, it's easy to defend. So
now Hopkins back under center. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He's going to now look for Lacoste to throw along the left-hand side. Lacoste makes the catch, makes one man miss. He's got some room, and he's still running. 45, 40, 35, and is finally brought down at around the 27-yard line. A gain of 53 yards for Ryan Lacoste. Nice wheel route there as they fake the handoff to Lacoste. He went in motion from right to left, just had him go right into that left flat. Hopkins completed a short pass to him, and then it was all Ryan Lacoste, another player who, once he gets out in space, is awfully tough to defend against. He's fast, he's quick, he's got some size, and made a big play there.
Yeah, he almost had to get caught from behind there. He did have some pretty good wheels. And right now I was saying Mountlake Terrace isn't showing a threat other than running. They go ahead and complete a 53-yard catch and run.
Hawks back in the wing T formation. Malcolm Johnson in the backfield. Handoff goes to Johnson. He's looking for room around the left-hand side. He's able to get out of the first tackle. However, number 24, Stephen Wonto, making the tackle on the play. That's going to be a gain of about 3 yards for Johnson. And the Hawks looking for their first score of the ball game here. They're now inside the 25-yard line. Mark it down at the 23. 2:32 showing on the clock here in the third quarter.
Now inside the 30, I think the first time on Meadowdale's half of the field.
Lacoste lining up along the left-hand side. He's back in motion again. They hand it off to him. He's going to come running around to the right. Finds a little bit of space. He's to the 15. He cuts it back to the 10 and is brought down from behind at the 6-yard line. A gain of 17 yards on the play. Now they're going to spot him at the 7, so we'll call it a 16-yard gain. Lacoste getting around that right-hand side and picking up the majority of the yardage this drive for the Hawks.
Boy, not just a power runner. He was able to get around the outside, and the safety number 1 from Meadowdale had the angle on him, and Lacoste just put the brakes on and turned up. It got 3 or 4 more yards.
Yeah, Neely had a nice angle like you mentioned, and it looked like he was going to bring him down around the 15, but Ryan is shifty, and he cut it back and was able to pick up another 8 or 10 yards before giving the Hawks a 1st and 10, or 1st and goal, I should say, from the 7-yard line. Daniel Johnson in motion. He's lined out to the far left. Malcolm Johnson and Ryan Lacoste in the backfield. Handoff goes to Lacoste. He finds some running room and gets down to about the 3-yard line, a gain of 4. That will bring up a 2nd and goal from the 3. Tyler Ruby on the tackle for Meadowdale. Clock now showing 1:23 to go here in the third quarter.
It's good for Terrace fans to still see Mountlake Terrace with some fight here. Tough running, and obviously the 53-yard pass is what spearheaded this drive.
So 2nd and goal from the 3. Handoff goes to Lacoste. Lacoste finds the end zone. Touchdown, Terrace. Lacoste with his first touchdown of the season from 3 yards out. The Hawks showing some life here late in the third quarter. They finally get on the board. A long drive for the Hawks, starting back in their own, 10 or 15-yard line.
On the 20.
On the 20?
It was kicked out.
It was kicked out of the end zone, correct. So an 80-yard drive for the Hawks. Ryan Lacoste picking up the majority of those yards. And Mountlake Terrace now trailing 31-6 with 59 seconds to go in the third quarter. Okay, Tanner Munnis on the hold. Mikey Jensen about to kick it. Puts it up. Puts it through. So the Mountlake Terrace Hawks trying to make a game out of this. It's not over yet. 59 seconds to go in the third quarter. Meadowdale 31, Mountlake Terrace 7. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger.
And thank you for watching.
And here we go, back at Edmond Stadium. Nick Neely fielding that kickoff at the 10-yard line. He's got some running room along the right-hand side. Cuts it back out. He's still going and is finally pushed out of bounds at around the 45-yard line. Nick Neely with a 35-yard return on the play. Mountlake Terrace losing a lot of that momentum they just gained on that 80-yard drive by allowing Meadowdale to get to almost the midfield mark on the kickoff.
It was a short kick. Looked like it was picked up or caught on the 16, 17-yard line.
10-yard line, yeah. 35-yard gain. And J.P. Routon and his offense coming back onto the field here. If you want a moral victory for the Hawks, you've only given up 3 points this quarter, and the quarter's about to come to an end. And I'm sure at this point, as you're starting to play for the rest of your season, you want to have a strong showing here in the second half all around. Not to say you're not still playing for a victory if you can. And Malik Braxton getting out to the left and finally goes out of bounds. Pulling up a little bit lame there as well, as he might have hurt himself on that play. Braxton picking up 20 yards on the carry out at the 35-yard line.
He doesn't look too hurt. He's going back to the huddle.
If I had to guess right now, 20-yard gain for Braxton. I have a feeling we're going to see Braxton in the backfield a lot more next week in the Jam the Stands game. I mean, he's such a natural back there, and really, what a nice 1-2 punch anyway. Rory Spillum is a very good back, and we had a chance to see him play quite a bit last year when Braxton was out, and really you don't lose much, but to have both of those guys and to have Braxton's explosiveness.
Yeah, and right when I was saying Braxton's going back to the huddle, the coach did pull him off the sideline, but he wasn't limping when he was running back to the sideline.
He was definitely walking a little gingerly there at first as we get a new ball carrier this time. It's Garrett Walsh, the fullback. Usually Walsh is in there as strictly a blocking back. This time Coach Don's going to let him carry the ball. Gets around that corner there for a gain of about 3. So if you're Bill Hummel and the defensive coordinator for Meadowdale, you've got to be feeling pretty good about your defense through 2 games so far. I mean, again, you gave up 28 points to a Lake Stevens team that has one of the better quarterbacks in the nation. You've held the Hawks to 7 points here tonight, and up until that last drive, you pretty much held them under right around 100 yards for the game. This is a Meadowdale football team that's going to be very formidable all year long. And we have come to the end of the third quarter of play. The Hawks outscoring Meadowdale 7-3 in the third quarter. Is it going to be enough to get them back in the game? We'll see in the fourth the score. Meadowdale 31, Mountlake Terrace 7. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
And we are back again at Edmond Stadium. 12 minutes to go in this game as we are about to start the fourth quarter. Meadowdale 31, Mountlake Terrace 7. And the Mavericks, wearing those home blue uniforms, are on the move again. 2nd and 8 from the Hawks' 33-yard line. I don't know if you noticed this, Dave. I was just noticing the heart against the fence here a minute ago. Maybe we'll try to get a shot of that in a few minutes here as Rory Spillum trying to find some running room along the left-hand side. Can't quite do it, and I'm hoping maybe I can get those guys to shoot that heart real quick so I can show that on the video screen.
Yeah, it looks like there's handprints on there, but other than colors, I don't see any writing or anything on it, so I'm not sure.
I'll touch on that in a minute here, as that's one of the it might be a story going back to last year even. We've yet to get a shot of it. We're going to get a shot here in a minute as Angelo Camo is going to try to get that on the screen, and then we'll talk about that briefly. 3rd down and 9 coming up for the Mavericks. Routon dropping back to pass. He's looking, finally rolling out to his right, fires it down the field. Incomplete. Landed that ball right between Donovan Evans and Charlie White, and Routon gets hit late on that play, and he's hurt. Finally jumps up. It might have been holding his hand or arm a little bit, and we'll see if how that affects the rest of his game as he's holding his wrist right now.
Well, it's 4th down now. If Routon was in there, I bet they definitely would go for it on 4th down, but kind of curious now about having a backup quarterback, if they're going to go for it on 4th and 9, or it would be kind of a tough kick.
Yeah, you're at the 34-yard line. It's a 51-yarder. We do finally have a heart shot here coming up as we wait to see what they're going to do on this play.
Looks like they're going for it.
And let's see who the quarterback is right now. That's Caleb Tingstead. He was the backup quarterback last year. Battled routing for the starting position. Does have some experience at quarterback, so let's see what he can do on 4th and 9. Drops back to pass. Tingstead looking down the field. Complete. Gets that one to Donovan Evans, a little bit low. Evans picks up the first down, and they're also going to call Lacoste at the end of that play for coming in and putting a hit on Evans after he was already down. So Meadowdale picks up the first down yardage, and they're going to get more on top of that.
3 for 3 on 4th downs.
Oh, there's the heart we were looking for. I wanted to show that a minute ago. It's a heart with handprints on it. Half of the heart is blue, half of the heart is red. I'm assuming that is a Meadowdale Mountlake Terrace signature heart, a story that we talked about a little bit last year, and unfortunately it came under a very sad set of circumstances. But Matthew Truax, one of the students at Meadowdale High School last year, on a Friday afternoon in September, almost exactly a year ago now, passed away very unexpectedly during his PE class. And that was on a Friday, and I know that the Meadowdale student body got together, a lot of their ASB members got together on Sunday over the weekend and created banners to give encouragement to the Meadowdale students. They went out to the Meadowdale High School parking lot on that Monday morning and held up the signs letting them know they were thinking about them and that they were in their thoughts and prayers and whatnot. Just a nice gesture by the Mountlake Terrace student body to show that they were supporting their fellow schoolmates from the Edmonds School District. And then the very next night at a soccer game between Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace, the Meadowdale students reciprocated and made a heart banner in which they had half the heart painted blue, half painted red with handprints inside the heart, thanking Mountlake Terrace for their support. And it was just a very nice, it was a feel-good thing. Again, it was a very sad story all around, and the death of Matthew Truax and what his family and other friends had to go through. But again, if that is in fact what that heart is, I wanted to make sure we got that on camera. I think it's a nice symbolic gesture of the fact that these two schools we're rivals on the field, but off the field, hey, we're all kind of going through the same things, and we've got each other's backs. And hey, good to see that on the fence. I'm talking about how they're supporting one another, and now we're getting unsportsmanlike penalties called on the football field. So
well, I don't know if this is going to be offsetting. It seems like it's 2 personal fouls. I hope they don't walk it off and then walk it back.
We've seen them do that before. Yeah. Nothing like watching the referees take a ball, march 15 yards one way, and then turn around and march 15 yards the other way.
And then watch the teams follow them also, yeah.
They are, in fact, doing that. I hope we're getting that all on camera. March 15 yards one way, then march 15 yards back. Beautiful. At some point, there needs to be a hand gesture. Just, you know what? It's on both of you guys. We're keeping the ball right here. Point at the ground, spot the ball, let's play football.
Like the intentional walk in baseball. You still got to throw it. So, yeah, that's a little ridiculous. But it's Friday night. We can stay out a little bit later. It's not a school night. But this has been taking a little bit too long to get this game back going.
Yeah, 11:07 showing on the clock right now. And they are finally going to mark off the first down for Meadowdale. Ball is spotted at the 26-yard line of Mountlake Terrace.
And it looks like the backup quarterback is still in. Is it Drew Tingstead?
Caleb. Yeah, I'm not sure. We've got Drew Tingstead written on our sheet. However, his name is Caleb Tingstead. So Drew's is actually his brother. There's another Tingstead there. So this is Caleb in the game. But you're right. I was looking at the 2-deep chart that Coach Don gave me. He actually has Drew Tingstead listed as the backup quarterback. So an 8-yard gain for Meadowdale. It's going to bring up 2nd and 2. Rory Spillum on the carry. And yeah, if you're JP Roughton right now, and if you're Meadowdale, you've got to be a little bit concerned. Roughton has had himself such a great ball game. I can't emphasize it enough. That game next week is huge, not only from a rivalry standpoint, but really most people, myself included, think that the conference is going to come down, the division rather, to Edmonds Woodway, Meadowdale, and Glacier Peak. That might be a game that decides who wins that division. And if JP Roughton has hurt himself and is out next week, changes the complexion of this offense quite a bit. Spillum looking for room around the right, cuts back into the middle, and gets stacked up by a couple of different Hawks players. One of which is Ryan Lacoste, number 8. Might have picked up about a yard on the play. It's going to leave Meadowdale just a bit short with 3rd down coming up on this play. So 3rd and 1, 17-yard line. Clock continues to run. It's now showing at 9:34 to go here in the ball game. Meadowdale with 4 first-half touchdowns. Went into the half with a 28-0 lead. And not much has changed since then. Meadowdale with a field goal in the 3rd quarter. The Hawks finally getting on the board with a late touchdown in the 3rd quarter. And that's where we stand right now, 31-7 here at Edmond Stadium. Tingstead takes the snap, gives it to Spillum. Spillum looking for some running room along the left. Picked up maybe a half of a yard. He's still going to be a bit short, though, and that's going to bring up 4th and a little less than a yard for Meadowdale.
I want to take a timeout here and figure this out, or?
At the very least, they're going to let the clock keep running. 8:44 to go if you're Meadowdale. Certainly you're not opposed to running off another 20 or 30 seconds.
I don't see a T coming out, so looks like we'll be going for it here.
Notice that they are now taking off the shoulder pads of J.P. Roughton over on the far sideline. Trying to look through the binoculars to see what we can find out here.
I just remember when he got up, he was holding his wrist.
If it is in fact a wrist injury, the question becomes, is it his throwing wrist or not? It's being covered up by a few coaches over there as well. And now we're going to get a timeout, so we will take a quick break. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Okay, here we go. 8:01 showing on the clock. Meadowdale with a 4th and short. Initially mentioned it was about a half of a yard. They might have spotted it back a little bit more than that, so we'll call it 4th and a yard right now at the Mountlake Terrace 17-yard line.
We're going to try to draw the defense off sides by a cadence change.
Caleb Tingstead continues to play quarterback. He's got Wall, right, and it worked. You know what?
Oh, but there's a snap. The ball did get snapped.
It was snapped, but in high school football, if the defense is offsides, it immediately blows the whistle dead. And Mountlake Terrace might have just given Meadowdale a first down. You called that one, Dave. Nice job.
You see that a lot coming out of a timeout. You just get everyone on the same page and just try to say no one moves at all until the defense jumps. And if they don't jump, then you just call timeout again, bring out the kicking team, and go for the field goal. But Terrace gave them first down.
And the way Meadowdale was moving the ball, I have a feeling that even if they hadn't jumped off sides, Meadowdale was still prepared to run that play and give it a shot. And I guess we'll never know now, as they didn't have to. The ball was whistle dead, and Meadowdale with a first down and 10 from the 12-yard line now. Clock still showing 8:01 as Meadowdale looking to increase their 24-point lead. Tingstead hands off to Spillum, and that ball is whistled dead as well. We await another call here. Continue to look on the sideline where J.P. Roughton is being looked at by, I would assume, a trainer and or coach. False start by Meadowdale. That pushes them back to their original line of scrimmage. However, first down has already taken place, and that's going to give them a 1st and 15 now. Got John Richards outside of our booth, a.k.a. Superfan, watching our game. Got to give John a lot of credit. He was over tweeting us from the Glacier Peak Shorewood game a few minutes ago and making sure we had scores from that game, a game that Glacier Peak won rather handily. And now, as soon as that game ended, he drove over here and he's watching the end of the Mountlake Terrace Meadowdale game.
There you go.
And nice play there in the backfield. Spillum getting brought down for a loss. I believe that was Billy Parkins as we wait to see him turn around. And in fact was Billy Parkins, number 56. Nice job by Parkins getting through there. One name we haven't called much tonight is Miles Allen, number 71. He is the nose tackle. I wanted to give him a shout out there too. I talked to Coach Tony Umayam after the game last week. Umayam has been the head coach at Mountlake Terrace for, 11 years now? Mentioned that he thought Miles Allen's game at nose tackle last week was one of the best games he's ever had out of a nose tackle, as he was a big part in that 14-13 victory over Mariner, and a player that I know that they're fairly excited about. And as soon as I give him a shout-out and give him some props, he jumps off sides. So, of course, that's usually the way it works. But Miles having himself a very nice night last week. He'll be a player that we want to keep an eye on all season long for Mountlake Terrace.
Yeah, starting this half, I was talking about how Meadowdale has to keep focus, and then Mountlake Terrace has to show some pride or stamina, and neither team is doing that right now. This is an ugly last 5 minutes.
Yeah, clock now showing 7:06 to go in the ball game. Caleb Tingstad still playing quarterback. He's got Walsh and Spillum behind him. Runs around to the right, hands off to Spillum. He's looking for some space. Cuts it back into the middle. Spin move, and wow, is drilled by somebody. I think that was Ryan Lacoste, who came in there like a missile as Spillum put on a spin move, which slowed him down, and Lacoste running full board just hit him from behind. Coming from behind, but Spillum spinning the other way, spun right into him, and Lacoste just drilled him into the ground. Spillum did pick up 4 yards on the play. It's going to bring up a third, and we'll call it about a 9 right now from the 11-yard line.
And there was much rejoicing.
6:17 to go here in the ball game. Caleb Tingstad ready to take the snap. He's got Walsh and Spillum behind him still. A little bit of a miscommunication play. Tingstad trying to make something out of nothing. Spins out of one tackle and is finally brought down at the 5-yard line. He gets ahead for about 6 yards before he's tackled from behind by, I believe that was Billy Parkins. Not sure if that was a miscommunication play or not. It looked as though Tingstad expected to hand that ball off, went back to Spillum, and Spillum just wasn't there, and he had to spin to his left and try to make something out of the play.
Looked like he was trying to hide the ball, like it was a fake handoff, hoping the defense would bite with the receiver because he was kind of holding the ball by his chest away from the defense. But he had some good moves at the beginning, but when you start running down the field as a quarterback, you got to be aware that people are right on your tail. You got to keep on running because when he slowed down, he got dropped pretty hard.
Yeah, so 4th down and 4 coming up. Brett Schaefer in to try his second field goal attempt of the night. This one from 22 yards out. Ball is snapped. Hold is down, and Schaefer drills it through. The kick is good. And with 5:08 remaining in this ball game, the Meadowdale lead gets that much larger. Meadowdale 34, Mountlake Terrace 7. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
The Allstate Insurance Agency of Jeff Smar is a proud sponsor of Wesco Athletics. Located in Northwest Bothell, Jeff's office services many areas including Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell, and Mill Creek. Contact Jeff for a quote at 425-949-7103 or email jeffsmar@allstate.com. All right, 5:08 to go here in the ball game. Meadowdale 34, Mountlake Terrace 7. Brett Schaefer back to kick off. He's got Daniel Johnson and Jacob Walgren back to receive. Don't even really need anybody back there, as Schaefer, whenever he wants, can pretty much kick it out of the end zone, and did once again. Mountlake Terrace will start with the ball at their 20-yard line. The last time they started at their own 20-yard line,
they went 80 yards.
Went 80 yards for a touchdown. Let's see if they can do it again.
That's obviously not me sticking my neck out too much. Say this game is probably going to be won by Meadowdale, but you want to finish strong if you're Mountlake Terrace. Go into the weekend, get ready for films on Monday. Have something to look forward to, something positive to build on, because tonight they are definitely the weaker of the two teams. They're pretty much on two different levels right now, Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace.
Justin Hopkins back to pass. He hits Austin Bates along the right-hand side, and Bates eludes one tackler and finally gets brought down at the 47-yard line, a gain of 27 yards. Bates' second catch of the season, both resulting in first downs, and the Hawks are on the move here. And hey, while you mention that, how about another shameless plug for us? Sound Live Sports Network, next Friday night, another doubleheader. Both of these two teams playing back at the stadium again. The 5 o'clock game, Mountlake Terrace versus the Shorewood Thunderbirds.
The matinee.
The Thunderbird team that is now 1-1 on the season, so we should have two teams with 1-1 records. And then the big game of the night, the 8 p.m. Jam the Stands game between Edmonds Woodway and Meadowdale. Hawks pushing that ball right up the middle.
There was a fumble on the snap, and Hopkins just picked it up and leaned forward for a yard. Yeah, about a yard.
I was wondering about that. I looked away for a quick second, and all of a sudden there was a big pile up right through the middle there, and that's exactly what happened. Hopkins picking up a 1-yard gain, brings up a 2nd and 9. So tune in again next week. We will have 2 games every Friday night for 8 straight weeks. And there will always be a 5 o'clock game followed by an 8 o'clock game. Great action here from Edmonds Stadium all season long, so if you're not able to make it out here, keep tuning in every Friday night. We'll keep broadcasting football. Whistles blow as we are now showing 4:04 left on the clock. And we're going to get a Meadowdale timeout, so we'll take another quick break. When we come back, we'll have the last 4 minutes of this ball game, and we invite you to stick around. Eventually, we're going to get to the Red Onion post-game show and Red Onion player of the game. You're watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger.
And thank you for watching.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call for.
And we're back again. A handoff to Ryan Lacoste. Lacoste makes the first tackler miss. Fights his way to the 45-yard line of Meadowdale, a gain of 7 yards. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 2 for the Hawks.
I'm going to say a gain of 8, Steve.
I'll take 8. Give him that.
Well,
to match his uniform number?
No, actually, you're right. 7.
It was 7.
I was trying to help him out there.
48-yard line of one side of the field to the 45 of the other.
I think it's safe to say it's 4-down territory for Mountlake Terrace here on out.
Yeah, 3:28 to go in this ball game. Hawks looking to take some momentum into that Shorewood game next week. Hopkins rolling to his right. He's going to fire down the field. Ball is incomplete. Put that one where it needed to be. Gabe Brady just couldn't quite hold on to it.
That's twice tonight. The Mountlake Terrace receivers are not helping out their quarterback. That was right in the hands earlier in the earlier in the second half. Malcolm Johnson had a ball go right through his hands too.
Brady usually very sure-handed. One of the better receivers on this Mountlake Terrace team, and he knows it too. You can tell his head's down a little bit, and he knows that he had a first down in his hands and let it slip out.
And it was good. I mean, it was a good choice by Hopkins. He had the throw was there because he could have ran that for a first down. When I don't want to say it was a bootleg, but he rolled to his right, and he could have ran for about maybe 5 or 6 yards. But
4th and 2 coming up. Let's see what the Hawks do here. They pounded up the middle to Malcolm Johnson. Johnson still pushing the pile, and he's carrying guys on his back. Is finally brought down at the 30-yard line, a gain of 15 yards. And about 9 of those yards came with 3 guys all over him. Johnson's best carry of the night. We've seen him do that a few times in the past season plus, as he did that a few times in 2013 as well. Not an easy guy to tackle at all. Johnson coming in at 5'10", 220 pounds. Lacoste sweeping around to the right, takes the handoff, finds some space. He gets to the 20, cuts it back in. He might have spoke a little too soon. He's tackled at the 21-yard line, apparently. Just a little short of the first down. It's going to bring up a 2nd and short. And the Hawks at least showing a little bit of life here on offense in the second half. And can't stress it enough. If at the very least you're maybe taking some momentum into next week. And, you're still early in your season. You're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And you found a little something here in the last 10 minutes of play.
Yeah, and whether
Walgren sweeping around. Oh, no, that's Riley Morin getting his first carry of the game. Morin doing a nice job of getting around the corner. Finally gets pushed out of bounds at about the 11-yard line. Morin with a gain of 10. And that gives the Hawks a first down.
Yeah, if you're a Mountlake Terrace fan, you want them to score on this drive. But even if they don't, you could see that they're not giving up, that they're still sort of fighting here and almost playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I don't know, watching this, if they replay this game 10 times, I don't know if Mountlake Terrace is going to win it. That's kind of how the two teams look tonight.
Yeah, 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Lacoste with a sweep to the right-hand side. He's got some room. He cuts it back in and goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Terrace. Ryan Lacoste with his 2nd TD of the night. Hawks getting into double digits on the scoreboard. 34-13 with 2:17 to go in the game. And we do have a Meadowdale player down. So 2 drives, 80 yards each for the Hawks in the last, I guess not even a full quarter. Got to be feeling pretty good about the fact that they're showing that they can move the ball a little bit now.
And actually, even though they didn't complete a pass on that drive, sort of the threat of a pass is there, so the defense is going to have to adjust, making it a little bit easier for the running game of Mountlake Terrace to be successful.
Stephen Punto, the player that was down there, was able to get up and run off on his own. Looks like he should be okay, and that's a good sign. Mikey Jensen coming on to attempt his 2nd PAT of the night. Tanner Munnis once again on the hold. Drew Clippard on the snap. Snap is down. The kick is up. The kick is good. And with 2:17 to go in the game, the Hawks now trailing 34-14. We'll take a quick break. You are watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
The Allstate Insurance Agency of Jeff Smar is a proud sponsor of Wesco Athletics. Located in Northwest Bothell, Jeff's office services many areas including Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell, and Mill Creek. Contact Jeff for a quote at 425-949-7103 or email jeffsmar@allstate.com. And we are back again, 34-14. Meadowdale appears to be in control of this one with 2:17 to go in the game. The only thing left now to figure out is who our player of the game is going to be, and we've got some good choices here. We'll see what happens. Mountlake Terrace tries the onside kick, and they had it right where they needed it. Nice kick by Mikey Jensen. It went the 10 yards. Unfortunately, Jacob Walgren just not able to prevent it from going out of bounds in time, and Meadowdale's going to take over in good position here.
Yeah, that thing rolled the whole way. Normally on turf, you'll get a hop because the turf's so bouncy, but that just rolled all the way out. It was close for Mountlake Terrace.
He did get it to roll the full 10 yards, though, so it was a live ball at that point. I think if Jacob Walgren could have that one over again, he would take it. He knows that he had a nice shot at that, and he's kind of beating himself up a little bit on that one.
Okay, take your cameras off, cheerleaders.
Okay, so 2:17 to go in this ball game. Showing cheerleaders of both sides there a minute ago. It's two very good cheer squads, by the way. Both went to state last year. Two very good coaches, Kim Berry at Meadowdale and Jessica Boss at Mountlake Terrace. Meadowdale's won, I think, 3 state championships in the last 5 years in cheer.
Well, they've also had usually a good dance team also.
They absolutely do, every single year. And another very late tackle here. It's Daniel Johnson tackling number 22, Tyree Carson, Carson getting his first carry of the night.
Yeah, I don't know if it was more of a late tackle or a long tackle. He was hit in bounds, but it just seemed to drag on for another 4 yards out of bounds.
And Johnson, number 6, a player that Mountlake Terrace is very excited about for the future. Only a sophomore, we mentioned that earlier. His older brother Malcolm, of course, wearing the number 9, playing linebacker and running back. Player that I guess at Oregon State University's football camp this year, when the Mountlake Terrace Hawks went down to the camp, a player that caught the eye of Mike Riley, the head coach of Oregon State, and he was watching him very carefully throughout all of the drills, and he's already on his radar as, again, he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, go Beavs.
That was Tyree Carson carrying the ball one more time. This time he went around to the left-hand side. Brought down at the 41, we'll call it the 42-yard line, a gain of about 7. If the play stands, it gives him a 3rd and 1. However, we did have a penalty marker down on the play. .202 showing on the clock right now. Meadowdale walking backwards. Illegal procedure called against the Mavericks. So that will bring up a 2nd and 13 instead of a 3rd and 2. Again, the Mavericks pretty much in control at this point. 20-point lead. We have our 3rd quarterback of the night, our 2nd Ting stat at quarterback of the night, as brother Drew is now in the ball game, wearing the number 12. Drew only a sophomore. Handing it off to Carson, and Carson has nowhere to go as he is hit, and the ball is oh no, he breaks away, and Carson, I don't know how he got out of that, cuts back, misses one tackle, and is finally brought down at the 31-yard line. I have no idea what just happened there as he was stopped in the backfield. It looked like he was going to lose about 5 yards, ends up gaining 23 on the play, and we've got an injured Hawk down. Luke Thurber making his first tackle of the night.
Yeah, Terrace had him in the backfield. At least 2, if not 3 defenders had him, but looked like they were more trying to put a shoulder into him other than wrapping up. And good for Meadowdale that he kept his feet going, got around, like I said, 25 yards later.
I'm still trying to figure out who that player. It might be Tanner Munnis down, number 2. Good to be able to call. No, Tanner Munnis is standing up in the backfield, so it's not him. I want to give Luke Thurber a little love there. Thurber, who's very big in the journalism department at Mountlake Terrace High School, and as a matter of fact was the color commentator with me during a basketball game last year. So Luke, nice job. Way to get a tackle. And again, I don't want to speculate and give out any numbers until we're sure now. And you know what? We're going to take a quick break here, so we'll be back in 30 seconds. We'll be right back. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger.
And thank you for watching.
Okay, and we are back again. That was Michael Liddell, who was down a minute ago for the Hawks. Liddell, walking off very gingerly, was able to walk off on his own and is heading back to the locker room. Carson with a nice run up the middle there. Gets brought down at the 24-yard line after a gain of 8. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 2. So 1:13 to go. The game has been decided. Now we get to decide who our player of the game is going to be, brought to you by Red Onion Burgers. We'll keep that a secret until we get him up here, so we'll see who we get. But we've got a few different options here. We'll, there's guys who are – there's good candidates out there. Let's put it that way.
Right. I feel like the O coordinator for Meadowdale. A lot of options. So
nicely done. Well, when you score 4 touchdowns in the first half and they're scored by 4 different players.
Yeah, what was impressive was the last 2, how quick they got it.
At 22 seconds apart for those third and fourth touchdowns.
It was 14-0 with 3 minutes to go in the first half.
And we get another running back here. This time, I believe that was number 35. Is that David Lausch? That was, in fact, Lausch getting his first carry of the ball game. So the one good thing about games that are not close at the end, you get a chance to see some of the younger players. And I know anytime that you are a freshman or sophomore, you're more of a JV player, and you get a chance to play on Friday night under the lights.
Even get those jitters out, see all the fans. Yeah, because I don't know if you've ever been to a JV game or a freshman game. There are 5 parents in the stands, and that's about it. So this is a little bit different with all your friends, classmates watching also.
So Lausch gets a chance to carry, and that is the end of the ball game. Our final score, Meadowdale 34, Mountlake Terrace 14. Both teams go to 1-1 on the year. Both teams now with 1 win and 1 loss overall on the season. However, Meadowdale picks up a win in conference tonight, so they now go to 1-0 in the conference standings. Mountlake Terrace obviously dropping to 0-1 as they won a non-conference game last week. So, yeah, Meadowdale getting out to the 28-0 halftime lead, and they were able to cruise after that. Final score 34-14. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this broadcast in this game, and we'll get you an interview with our player of the game. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burgers.
And thank you for watching.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
The Allstate Insurance Agency of Jeff Smar is a proud sponsor of Wesco Athletics. Located in Northwest Bothell, Jeff's office services many areas including Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell, and Mill Creek. Contact Jeff for a quote at 425-949-7103 or email jeffsmar@allstate.com.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burgers.
And thank you for watching.
And we are back again. Your final score tonight from Edmond Stadium, the Meadowdale Mavericks 34, the Mountlake Terrace Hawks 14. We've got the quarterback from Meadowdale, JP Roughton, up here with us. And JP, first and foremost, a lot of us don't know much about you, so let's just ask you right off the bat. You're new to Meadowdale this year and making your presence known. What's your background?
So my freshman through junior year, I actually played quarterback at Newport High School in Bellevue, 4A school. And I'm not on a lot of people's radars because we were running the triple option. So I was running the ball, 20 to 30 times a game. Didn't get a lot of passing, didn't put up huge yards last year. Some things happened, and Meadowdale seemed like the move. So came over here at the start of the second semester last year, and it's been great. Getting plugged into the offense. Still some things to learn, but it's been awesome.
Starting quarterback at Newport for the last year or two? Or off and on? Off and on. Okay, and you mentioned you didn't have a lot of passing opportunities there. That's changing a little bit here, and I've got to be honest with you. I've had a chance to watch this Meadowdale team over the last couple of years. I thought you guys were going to be very run-heavy tonight, but you guys came out here just gunning the ball around. You threw for over 240 yards in the first half and 4 touchdowns. Was that the game plan coming in, or did it just kind of happen to go that way?
So we watched a lot of film this week, and we saw some things that we thought we could take advantage of in the pass game. We're a run-first team, and we feel like we can always go back on the run. But if we see things that we like in the pass game, we love to air the ball out.
Now, Malik Braxton, who's normally in the backfield with you, playing a lot in the slot tonight, a lot of receiver. Was that something that Coach Don was experimenting with tonight, or what was the deal there?
We got a few big games coming up these next 2 weeks. So we've been playing with some different packages in practice this past week. So that's something you guys might be seeing a little bit more.
Definitely, and you've definitely got the arm to throw that around the field there. Hey, I've got to ask, too, what's the situation with the injury? You went out there in the fourth quarter. Are you available for Jam the Stands next week, or do we not know yet?
I believe so. I'll be doing all I can this week to be out there on Friday night.
Okay, because I'm sure you're new to the area. You were at Bellevue, but you know the significance of Meadowdale, Edmonds Woodway, right?
I do. My brother actually graduated from Edmonds Woodway, so we grew up the rivalry in the house.
So who does he root for next week?
Me.
There we go. Smart move there. And your brother's name is?
His name's Chris Roughton. He graduated in 2009.
Okay, so Chris might have to change colors next week and go along with this guy. Big game coming up, a few big games coming up. And, you guys had a chance to play Lake Stevens last week.
Yeah.
I know that the game didn't work out the way you wanted it to. Non-conference game, however. How does going up against a team like Lake Stevens prepare you for the rest of the season?
It was awesome. I mean, that's a top 10 4A team. They got the best quarterback in the country in their class. So that's just a great learning experience for us. Tough, close loss, but we played our hearts out, and there's a lot of things that we could look back on in film and just grow. That's a good football team. It was awesome. Definitely.
So we're going to have you pose here for a minute now because you are, in fact, our Red Onion Burger player of the game, and I'll hold it up for you since you got the one bad arm.
Thank you.
But JP Roughton making his presence known, new to Meadowdale, but already in the win column, your first victory as the starting quarterback at Meadowdale, so congratulations to you. I won't shake your hand because I don't want to hurt your arm there, but hey, big game again tonight, 240-plus yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
Not bad numbers. If you can do that all season long, you guys have a chance to go a ways this year.
Absolutely. I like our guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you guys are looking good. So I'll give you that shirt.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. A 34-14 victory. And JP is our Red Onion Burgers player of the game. We'll take a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll wrap up with a couple comments. You're watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger.
And thank you for watching.
Okay, back again. Once again, the final score tonight, Meadowdale 34, Mountlake Terrace 14. That young man we just interviewed, impressive quarterback.
Impressive. He's got the stats. He's got the good demeanor, quiet demeanor, but, he doesn't mind flashing a little bit on the field. So Meadowdale, he says he's going to be fine for next week, and if that's true, they should be fine for the rest of the season.
When, coming into the season, we knew Meadowdale had a great defense. We knew they could run the ball. The question was, do they have anybody that can replace Evans at quarterback? I think if he's healthy, the answer is Heck yeah, they do. He's a great-looking quarterback. And, again, a lot of it's going to be predicated on whether or not he's healthy. But if he is, this is a Meadowdale team that a lot of people are going to have to contend with, and we're going to have a strong year.
Yeah, like we were saying all night. Next week, Edmonds Woodway, not just a rivalry game, 2 3A opponents going at it that are probably fighting for a top spot along with Glacier Peak. So we'll learn a lot also next week too. And if you're Mountlake Terrace, 28-0 at the half, you came back a little bit in the second half. Do you feel a little bit better going into that Shorewood game? Well, a couple things. One, they didn't show any quit, and two, Hopkins started throwing the ball nicely that second half. Even he had a couple incomplete passes, but the passes were nice, right in the receiver's hands, and it was just dropped. So if you are Shorewood's defensive coordinator and you're looking at film, they're going to have to prepare a little bit more for the pass just because Hopkins had a much better game this week than last week. So Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace both being broadcasted right here on the Sound Live Sports Network next Friday night, 5 p.m., Mountlake Terrace versus Shorewood, 8 p.m., Jam the Stands, Edmonds Woodway versus Meadowdale. And we'll be here to broadcast those games, and we'll once again have 2 more Red Onion Burger players of the games. And by the way, Red Onion Burgers broadcasting the football games now from the restaurant every Friday night. Head on down to 212th and 44th in Mountlake Terrace. Get yourself a burger. Try to take on the Intimidator burger if you want. It's thing's huge. Or just have a nice chocolate milkshake and call it good. But at any rate, Sean Richards and the rest of the gang at Red Onion, we appreciate you guys for what you do and for sponsoring us and bringing us the Red Onion Burgers Player of the Game and Postgame show. And on that note, Dave Kostyk, thank you very much. You bet. Thanks for having me.
We'll
I'd like to start another season.
Definitely. We are ready to go for 2014. So for Dave, for Angelo Camo, Teresa Whipple, and everybody who helped us tonight, Ian Hentz and the rest of the guys, appreciate you guys watching. I'm Steve Willits. You've been watching the Sound Alive Sports Network. Have a good weekend.